Rankings. You're going wire to wire.
With Diesel and Cole Bryson.
On the Fan, Upstate.
So much to break down in the sports world, Cole. Not a lot everywhere else, right? It's been pretty boring last 24 hours. Nondescript, as they say. The very first college football rankings are out, Cole. Going to get deep into the weeds on that in this very segment. Who got gassed up the most? Who maybe got devalued and screwed over the most? Is there any way Clemson can claw their way back into the CFP picture? A lot of things I want to tackle here in the very first segment, but guys, we are excited to be on location in Liberty, South Carolina. We are at the Liberty at 429 East Main Street inside the Corner Cafe. You come right through the front door, take a right. You'll see us. We want you to come by and hang out with us. We've got prizes. We've got hats and T-shirts and all kinds of cool stuff up for grabs. And, of course, you get to meet Evan, our promotions rep. He's rocking the Fan Upstate hat as well. He's the one who's like 9 feet tall. You can't miss him no matter where you are. He's the one who's taller than you when he's sitting down. Hey guys, we have a lot to break down here in the very first CFP rankings. The real question, though, is which one of us, Cole or Diesel, were closer to what the CFP committee actually put forth yesterday? It's the very first ranking. Remember, a lot of things can change. There's a lot of movement that's going to happen over the next couple of weeks in the CFP rankings. But all that matters, Cole, is really who was more right than the other. Yeah. The very first initial ranking.
I didn't like what I saw last night when it came out.
So what we did is Cole and I ranked what we thought the committee would do with their top 10, and we're going to compare that to what they actually did. Now, if you hit a position dead on perfect, you get 3 points. If you are one position away, you get 2 points. If you're 2 positions away, you get 1 point. And if you're more than that, you lose a point because we don't give out points for people who can't get close.
No. Well, we could do a little cornhole style, but I like the points. Look, there's a lot to get into. I don't know. I just didn't expect, again, not to get ahead of myself here. There were some things that I am not really sure if they got right.
Okay, well, hey, again, we can spend the entire show talking about that. And you, the Tolos, can text in 71307. Start your text with keyword fan. And you can jump into the conversation about the CFP rankings, among other things. But, Cole, here's where the CFP top 10 is. Oregon, number 1. Ohio State, number 2. Georgia, 3. Miami, 4. Texas, 5. Penn State, 6. Tennessee, 7. Indiana 8, BYU 9, and Notre Dame rounding out the 10th spot in the very first CFP rankings. Who did the best at predicting what the CFP committee would do? Was there ever any question? It was me.
You got lucky.
No, I didn't get lucky. I didn't get lucky, Cole.
Yep.
I got good, and that's
lucky.
the thing. That's the thing. So, again, with the 3-2-1 -1 scale, Cole, we both picked Oregon dead on in first place, so we both got 3 points for that. In second place, I had Ohio State, so I get 3 points for that. Ohio State, you had them at third, so you get 2 points for that. I got 2 points for Miami in third, 2 for Georgia in fourth. I was dead on having Texas in fifth place. Both of us were way off when it came to what the committee would do with BYU. I was 1 space away for Penn State, 1 space away for Tennessee, 1 space away for Notre Dame, and 2 spaces away for Indiana because I had Indiana ranked 10th. The CFP has them ranked 8th. Cole, on the other hand, you had Oregon at first place, so you got 3 points there. You were 1 space off on Georgia, 1 space off on Ohio State, Texas, and Miami as well. Multiple spaces away from BYU, 1 space away from Indiana, Tennessee, and Notre Dame, and multiple spaces away from Penn State, which doesn't shock me, Cole, because talking about it yesterday on the show, you were so much of a certified hater when it comes to James Franklin and Penn State. And I told you, I sat there and I told you to your face, you looked at me into my eyeballs, and I told you the CFP committee was not as down on Penn State as you were. And by God, it proved to be right.
Well, they should be. They absolutely should be down on them. I don't understand that at all. Now, let me look at this. You've got on the right here, this is what the rankings are.
Correct.
See, I thought BYU was a lot higher than 9. I thought BYU was like
BYU is ranked as the highest ranked conference champion, and so
I'm confused on this. Then how does this
in the brackets? They're going to be ranked as the highest rated conference champion, the 4th highest ranked conference because they're in the Big 12. Remember?
Oh, okay.
And so BYU is going to get the first round bye and essentially be fourth place in the 1 through 4 rankings.
So I looked at this graphic and I thought it meant Oregon 1, Georgia 2, Miami 3, BYU 4. That's not what it means?
No, that's not what it means. This is what it would look like if they actually seeded the bracket
I got you.
with the rankings that we have now. And again, there's a lot of football left to be played. Most of these teams have 3, 4, 5 games left.
Sure.
And, of course, many of them are going on to conference championship games.
Yeah.
But Cole, you were way off on Penn State.
Well,
and that was the big difference because I finished with 19 points. You finished with 15 points.
Well, the committee, it may
with
take
a maximum of 30.
And it may take them longer to realize that Penn State's a fraud. Look, Penn State's a fraud. There's nobody that doesn't think they're a fraud in America. I don't know why the committee doesn't see it yet. Again, it's early. We talked about it yesterday. It's still, there's still going to be a lot of movement and changes to this poll, but I don't know. I mean, if they can't see that they're a fraud, look, yeah, they have the helmet, the sticker, it's Penn State. Congratulations, but why? Like, what is your reasoning?
Well, to your point, and there are analytics that agree with you, Cole. KFordRatings, who we're going to talk to Kelley Ford later on at 4:20 this afternoon. He believes that Penn State is the 10th best power-rated team in America.
Okay.
Consequently, he's got BYU at 25, Cole. That's
Wow.
the thing that blows you away.
Yeah.
Is that Penn State is at that BYU is 25 on their list, but according to the CFP, they are the 9th best team in the country. Again, things could still shake out, things could still change, but that's where he is in his power ratings when it comes to Kelley Ford's projections. And again, we're going to love their most deserving rankings. We're going to talk to him about that a little bit later on in the show today and see where this thing kind of pans out and how it differs from what the CFP believed. But Cole, like watching the CFP show, the reveal shows over the last couple of years, you kind of start to get a feel for what it is they're going to do, right? For what it is they may boost a team up to create a narrative. They may drop a team down to create a narrative, and they'll say like, hey, we can change our parameters at any time. Anytime we see fit, we can change our parameters.
Did it take them a long time to reveal them? I didn't watch.
Yeah, it did, actually. It took them a considerable amount more time. I think it was around 7:20 last night when they finally got to the top 10. So it wasn't that way in the past. Now, certainly they made a bigger deal out of the brand new 12-team playoff, kind of explaining what was going on there. And then they were wrapping it in metaphors of the election and America choosing and all these things. So that took a little extra time. I'm assuming next week this thing will get a little more efficient as
probably
they
have more viewers too.
Yeah. Obviously, last night they had a lot of people watching other things.
Yeah. I didn't watch, but I would like to go back and watch just to hear their explanations. On certain teams.
So
Herbstreit.
I know Booger McFarland was on the show last night.
I like Booger.
As was not AJ McCarron, blank on his name. The other Alabama quarterback, former Alabama quarterback that's a pundit now. They had him on the show, and it seemed to Booger, at least this was his analysis, they were really, really penalizing for the losses more than they were penalizing for the wins. So that seemed to have been the criteria there for the first go around.
It's across the board.
Across the board, yeah. And so again, things can change. Things can change. Things can move. I don't ever want to see them just value the team with the smallest number as a second column on their win-loss column. I don't ever want them to say, "Oh, well, you're 9-0 in the American Athletics, so clearly you're the 4th best team in America," because there's only 4 unbeaten teams out there.
Did they give any like bylines? McElroy, yeah. Did they give any like rules? Not rules, but any understanding of for the average audience out there that didn't know how the committee was going to rank these opponents? What formulas? What thought processes? Did they give any of that?
Well, all they can do is have conjecture, right? Like the committee doesn't reveal what they value.
And see, I wish they did, man. I want to know.
That's the hard part. That's the hard part, and that of course breeds the subjectivity, right? That gets people talking. Why are they doing this? What are they valuing? Instead of just saying straight, these are our power projection, these are our power ratings, and we rank them 1 through 10 with whatever the computer spit out, right? That's the old school BCS way of doing things. but at the same time, it doesn't really lend itself to an hour-long production of a TV show.
No, I get it.
To reveal all that information.
I just want to know what their criteria is. And I know you talk about how they're kind of punishing teams a little more for the losses than they are, good wins, which I actually like that a lot. I think you should. Look, a win's a win. It doesn't matter if you win by 1 or 100. I do like being penalized for a loss. And I understand the Penn State losses to Ohio State. I get that. However, if you watch that game, there was nothing that screamed elite about Penn State. Ohio State gave them a turnover. They gave them opportunities to win the game. Will Howard didn't play well. I'm telling you, it's just like, I understand you have these stipulations and you have these rules, Diesel, of kind of like guidelines, right? What you go by in terms of ranking teams, but I want the eye test to matter. That's all I want. I just want the eye test to matter so much because and I'm not saying I'm a football expert by any means, but when you sit down and watch some of these teams, they're not top 5. They're not top 10.
So Cole, I don't know if you're misremembering the way that game went down with Ohio State just a little bit, but it's not like Ohio State was lighting up the scoreboard in the second half either. They put a touchdown in the first, a touchdown in the second, a field goal in the third and fourth each.
Yeah, that's my point.
Penn State scored 10 points in the first quarter, and then 3 points in the third. Neither one of those teams looked completely exceptional.
But the difference is, to your point about grading a loss, the difference is Ohio State won. And I think in my mind, if I'm on the committee, you won the game. I want to judge a loss more than I judge a bad win. That's me. That's my opinion. I'm not saying that's what the committee thinks. Look, Ohio State didn't play well, and that's why I said you're right. They didn't play well in the second half. That's why I think Penn State deserves even more fault because they had every opportunity. Penn State,
it was a home game for them, too.
Oh, my God. They could have – that's my point. Like, they could have won that game. You're not going to catch a Will Howard at quarterback every year for Ohio State. Usually it's going to be a 5-star stud that's going to be playing on Sundays.
But, hey, Will Howard got his revenge. Remember that audio clip we had last week of Will Howard saying, I grew up a Penn State fan. I wanted to go to Penn State. They told me I wasn't good enough. I'm coming for him this weekend. What a fantastic story that was for Will Howard and the Ohio State Buckeyes. So to round out the top 25, I'm going to go through this quickly for you. Alabama, I was 11. Boise State, SMU, Texas A&M rounds out the top 15. Starting at 15, you got LSU, Ole Miss, Iowa State, Pitt, Kansas State. Colorado's 20th, Washington State 21st. Now, that's an interesting story there.
Yeah.
If Washington State wants to potentially get into a playoff, they've got to get inside the top 11 because they're not in a conference. They don't get the benefit of potentially a conference championship game to get them in. Louisville's 22nd. Clemson fell all the way to 23rd. Missouri 24th. Army 25, Cole.
Army.
Yeah.
But did you say Navy?
No Navy.
Oh.
No Navy.
And
they don't do an others receiving votes category. So you don't know who may be sitting there lurking in the wings.
Which I kind of like, by the way. I kind of like the suspense of it. Now, speaking of suspense, Texter from the 419 says, the suspense. The rankings were identical to the top 25 poll with only 15 and 16 flipped. Very identical. Did that end up being that close?
Maybe that means everybody kind of feels the same way and everybody got it right.
Yeah. Well, and maybe that was my fault of thinking there would be more. When we went through that exercise yesterday, I thought that maybe there would be more change. And I guess the committee, respected what the AP poll thought. The AP poll, if it were virtually identical, almost, maybe they respected it. And I just assumed that, hey, this committee that's made of, human beings who supposedly, allegedly know football, Diesel.
Whoa. Condoleezza Rice was on the first one. I wouldn't go that far.
Well, okay, that's true. They're going to have some shakeups. It's going to, and that's where I messed up yesterday. I thought there would be shakeups. I just didn't think the AP poll would kind of almost look like the college
Normally,
football.
I'm with you. I mean, I predicted a handful of shakeups as well, putting some teams a little higher than they should be to generate some conversation, knowing that we still had games to be played that could shake this thing back out probably the way that it's supposed to be.
I will tell you this. I think it'll be easier. Well, I think it'll be much easier to predict now that we have the initial 12.
Oh, for sure.
What's the movement going to be for a lot of these teams? Winners and losers obviously will drop like they do in the AP poll, but I think now that you've got the base, it's going to be a lot easier.
So, Cole, are you surprised that Clemson fell all the way to 23rd after the Louisville loss. Now, I do think they got this one little bit right. They proved that head-to-head matters.
Okay.
And despite the fact that Louisville has one more loss than Clemson, Louisville is 22nd. They're one place higher than the Tigers after beating them on their own field.
Am I surprised? No. Do I think it's close to right? Yeah. In fact,
they were what, 11th prior to that?
Yeah.
12th? Yeah. Okay.
Look,
so they fell a dozen spots.
This is not 100% legitimate because I have emotion in this. I don't think they should be in the top 25.
Wow.
I don't think they should. Again, that's me speaking with emotion, right? I acknowledge that.
Can you say that out loud? We're in Liberty. We're not far
We are
from
not
Clemson.
far from Clemson. We're not.
You could throw a football over the mountains and drop it right into Dabo's
and I
front
think
lawn.
Dabo was over there trying to still vote at the Starbucks line when I walked in because he was, that desperate. But I ran him out of the store. No need. We're all good there. Again, I'm speaking from emotion. I don't think they're a top 25. Okay, on their best day, they are. Okay, on their best day, they are. What I saw Saturday night was not top 25. It might have been borderline. What'd you say, 23? Is that right?
Yes.
I mean, I really don't have issue with that. But here's the deal, though, and we're going to do this in the very next segment, Diesel. When you talk about their path to 12, it's tough. We did it yesterday with South Carolina, so that's why I want to do it today with Clemson. We'll talk about it. But I'm telling you, man, them at 23, I'm not saying season over, but you're on the outside looking in right now. You've got a lot of ground to make up. And I'll tell you this, I would hate to be in a position, Diesel, where, what are we, November the 5th, 6th? I would hate on November the 6th to have to allow my destiny to be in the hands of a bunch of other teams. And that's where Clemson is right now.
I mean, do you think there's any way that any kind of performances that Clemson can put up against Virginia Tech, Pitt, Citadel, and South Carolina that would tell a committee they're not going to get blown out? If you give them another shot, they're not going to get blown out the way they did against Georgia or the way they did against Louisville. Virginia Tech has dudes, but they haven't been able to put it together this year. Pitt just got thoroughly beat last week. Citadel's an FCS team, so you don't get any credit there. The only thing, I think all of this hinges on what happens with South Carolina the last couple weeks of the season. Because if South Carolina, let's just say for the sake of argument that Clemson ran the table, they beat a top 25 Pitt, not a great top 20, 23rd, I think they are in the current AP rankings. Mm-hmm. Is there enough juice in those wins if South Carolina keeps doing what they do, ends up somewhere in that 16-17 range? Is there enough? They're almost out of opportunities to show their quality.
Not what the answer to your question is, not without an ACC championship. That's their only path. And we're going to get to it.
So they need a lot of teams to lose.
You need SMU or Miami to lose one game. And then you have a chance to get back in Charlotte. But it's not looking good. I'll tell you that. Here's a interesting comment from JD on the YouTube stream. Clemson, Louisville, and Mizzou shouldn't have been in. Gamecock should have been in. If eye test matters, especially consider we lost by 2 to number 11, beat number 14, and went toe-to-toe with LSU, who was up there as well. I can't disagree with that. I can't push back. Look, I think right now they are a better team than Clemson. I think they're more complete of a team, so I don't push back on that. And JD, I hadn't looked over the text line yet, so it's not that we're ignoring them. I'm just looking at the stream. We have a lot of messages coming in on the stream, so we'll get to a few texts. 71307. Texter says, Diesel, I caught some smoke from a Mizzou fan last night because I said that Gamecock should have been ranked over them, mostly Louisville, not a Pete from Louisville fan. Texter says there will be less movement in this initial first ranking than Diesel when he sprained his ankle on the baseboard. Oh, had to go there? They really had to bring that up? I mean, that's –
hey, the Tolos never forget, man.
Low-hanging fruit, right?
We got a bunch of elephants in the audience, man. They never forget.
Texter says, the suspense. The rankings were identical to the – I already read that one. Identical to the top 12 or top 25 poll. Texter from the 803. Cole, stop it. Clemson's season is over. No way the Tigers went out. There's at least 2 more losses there. Sadly, Sheezy. Well, Sheezy, when did I've been pretty negative. I've been pretty down.
They need we just said they need a tremendous amount of help to get there.
Listen, not one time did I say they're going to do it because I personally don't think they will.
I mean, without taking the other ACC teams out of this, without winning out, or even with winning out, I think at best they end up around 16.
Yeah. And that's what we're going to get into. Texter says, unless SMU or Miami loses 2 conference games, you're asking Clemson if Clemson can make the top 12 as a third-place ACC game. Absolutely not. All right, that's what we're going to get into next. We did it yesterday for South Carolina Diesel. It was a stretch for the Gamecocks, right, with 3 losses, somehow, some way getting into the college football playoff. But in the very next segment, what does Clemson's path look like to the college football playoff? We just dabbled in it. Do I feel confident? Do you feel confident? Do the Tolos out there who are Clemson fans feel confident? We want to hear from you, 71307. Start your text with the word fan. Again, Diesel said it. We are live in Liberty today at 429 East Main Street in Liberty at Ingles in the Corner Cafe. If you're in the Liberty area, we'd love to see you, talk a little football with you. So swing on by, and we're going to talk Clemson's path to the college football playoff next.
Hey,
We're in 5, and we'll have a bye week before the playoffs begin on the 8th of November. The Fan Upstate, home of Burns football, brought to you by Founders Federal.
keyword fan.
And connect with Diesel and Cole Bryson on Wire to Wire. This is the Fan Upstate.
How much faith do you have, Clemson fans, that this team, this season, 2024, look, tough loss on Saturday night, not far from where Diesel and I are sitting here at the Ingalls and Liberty. How much faith do you have that this team will find themselves in the college football playoff? 71307 is the way to text the show. Look, if you want to call the show, phone lines are open during this segment as well. 844-FAN-PHONE, 844-326-3663. That's the way you can call in. It's the renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone. Let me know right now on the text line what amount of faith on a scale of 1 to 10. You want to go that way, how much you have that Clemson will make the playoff. I'll tell you how much faith I have that this team will make it this season. But before we do that, Diesel, can you give us today's clue for listeners, Tolos, to win a $25 gift card?
That's right. Here's your chance to win a $25 Ingalls gift card. If you know what item we're talking about, bring the answer to the trivia question here to the Ingalls, where we sit right now at 429 East Main Street in Liberty. Clue number 1 for you. And I think, Cole, this is the giveaway. Many people love blending this item with joy. Many people love blending this item with joy.
That one should have been 4, right?
Should have been. But hey, we do what we're told here on the Fan Upstate.
We do.
We give the clues in the order that they're given to us. But hey, maybe that means more Tolos will come by and put the answer in the hat. And then by the end of the show, we'll have like 100 Tolos who have dropped by to see us here at the Ingalls and Liberty and give us the answer.
It's incredible, when you talk about these clues. Melissa does a great job with the clues, but sometimes I'm stumped. Now, today's was very easy. There was no stumping today, right? For me, I don't know. Tolos out there may disagree. But today's clues seem pretty self-explanatory. But Diesel said it. We have a couple of shirts, a couple of Fan Upstate hats before they get gone if you want to come out. But the question is, for the Tolos out there that are Clemson fans, you don't have to be a Clemson fan to participate, but how much faith do you have that this team's going to make it? Because they're going to need some help. Diesel said it in the very last segment. They're going to need to win out. And the odds are stacked against them. The odds are stacked against them after the loss. This is now your second loss of the season. You don't control your own destiny. Mm-hmm. You have to rely on some major help, and you have to rely on your team somehow getting better. And, we were sold a false hope that this team was better. They weren't better. They were playing nobodies, and an unranked Louisville team embarrassed them at home. So, Diesel, I think we're going to be surprised, unless I'm wrong here, by the Clemson fans' response and their hope, their faith level in the college football playoff.
Well, hey, Cole, that should be a catalyst that makes some Clemson fans wake up, right? Because there's been a lot of Clemson fans sleeping at the wheel saying, I trust Dabo. I believe in Dabo. Anything Dabo wants to do, I'm good with. Dabo, you do your thing. Mm-hmm. Well, really, when you're effectively out of the playoff hunt, an expanded playoff hunt in week 11, like, is that good enough for you?
I don't think it is.
You used to be in the playoff hunt when it was a 4-team playoff
every year
deep into the season. Now you're out of it by week 11. So, Cole, it's easy to have faith when everything's going well. It's also easy to have blind faith when that's really all you have.
Well, when you're playing in the ACC, it makes it a lot easier to have faith that you're a really good team. And again, I talked about it Monday. I talked about it yesterday. That's what we were sold. We were told that they were a very good team. They weren't a very good team when they played somebody with a pulse, and that somebody with a pulse wasn't even a ranked pulse team. They were an unranked team. So what's that tell you? But no, to answer your question, Clemson fans shouldn't be happy. I don't think there's any Clemson fans out there that will tell you, if you have them in a room just one-on-one. Now, they may not publicly admit it, but I think
that's the problem.
It is a problem.
If you can't publicly admit it, that means you're scared.
Yeah, it's this mantra of, hey, we have to support Dabo regardless of what Dabo does, and we have to act like we're on board. I think more and more fans are starting to see that that's not how it should be. I talk to a lot of Clemson fans every day that are friends of mine that listen to the show, and more are starting to see the writing on the wall, not in terms of Dabo losing his job, but that you're not where you were, and it's really not even close. So when you look at them somehow reaching the playoff, they have Virginia Tech on the road, and there's a lot of chats, a lot of comments in the stream right now talking about Virginia Tech and, Blacksburg being a tough place to play. It is. It's, especially when you're not a good team, right? If you were an elite Clemson team, it wouldn't be much for Clemson to go up there and whack them. However, this is not an elite Clemson team. So you have Blacksburg on the road this Saturday, Diesel. You come home, you go to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where you take on Pitt. So back-to-back road weeks in the ACC, that's very tough. I mean, road games in the ACC back-to-back weeks, you talk about really scaring you, really intimidating you, tongue-in-cheek there. And then you come home and play the Citadel, and then you're at home playing South Carolina. So first number of business, we talked about it yesterday with South Carolina. Clemson has to win out. But the schedule that you and I need to be looking at is not Clemson. Clemson has to win out, but what can Miami and SMU do to drop the ball to give the Tigers a chance? And we've talked about Miami's schedule all year long, Diesel. That's the worry, right? That's the concern. You don't really look at their schedule and see teams that, can really give them a run for their money. They have Georgia Tech, Wake Forest, and Syracuse. They're going to kill all three of those teams, right?
Well, you would think so, Cole.
You would think so.
Here's the thing. If you look at the ACC conference standings right now, Clemson is a half a game back from Miami and SMU. So they need one of those two teams to lose to have an opportunity to get in.
Yeah.
Now, Louisville lost to SMU. Is that correct?
Louisville lost to SMU. I have to look it up.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull this stuff out of the ether off the top of my head. If Louisville, I'm pretty sure Louisville did in fact lose to SMU, and if that's the case, Cole, Clemson is still screwed. So they need SMU to lose
yes, they
too.
do.
So the best case scenario for Clemson is for Miami to lose one, because then everybody's got a blemish, and Clemson has a maybe a real chance to get that spot over Miami.
Well, I don't think either team's going to lose. Unfortunately, I really don't. I mean, you look at SMU. They have, they have Boston College, they have Virginia, and they have Cal.
They're not going to lose.
No, they're not. No, there's no chance. You said it earlier. They beat Louisville back on the 5th of October, 34-27. No, they're not going to lose. And neither's Miami. Look, Clemson's done. You can stick a fork in them. I asked the Tolos to give me their thoughts on the text line. My level of faith is 0. Clemson's not making the ACC championship. And listen, I said it in the very last segment. If they don't make the ACC championship and win it, they have no shot at getting in the college football playoff. And the fact that the first-year Diesel of the college football expanded playoff, Clemson has second-year coordinator, second-year quarterback, a lot of guys returning. That is pitiful. It is embarrassing that Clemson cannot make the expanded 12-team freaking playoff. Dabo should be embarrassed. Clemson fans should be embarrassed.
Well, this just been a bad week for Clemson. Obviously, Dabo couldn't vote. They lost. Cade has fallen way, 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 way back out of any Heisman conversation. You're not anywhere close to an at-large spot into the 12-team expanded playoff. I mean, it's rough all around. It's rough news all around. And JD said this on the stream earlier. He said the Clemson fans are sticking their heads in the sand. They're hiding. They're not willing to come out and talk to us. And I find that truly pathetic. I find it truly pathetic from a lot of Clemson fans who will not say anything bad about this program. They will not say anything bad about that. What do you think? You think Dabo listens to this show, captures voice prints, takes it to the ticketing office and says, that guy, remove that guy's season tickets. That guy can't be a part of my program anymore.
What I think it is very similar to every other fan base. When a lot of fans lose, they go in hiding. That's not just Clemson. It's every fan base. And Clemson fans are probably to an extreme right now.
It's pride. You know why you do that? Because your pride's been hurt.
Yeah, you don't want to – look, you lost, right? You lost. You got your butts waxed, and you don't want to come out and talk about it. I get it. It happens. It happens in football. It happens in politics. It happened last night. It happens. But how you respond to it, fans, you shouldn't hide. You shouldn't lay low. You shouldn't just stay down and, depressed about it. Look, you've got to speak up to where something changes. I'm not saying the coach – I'm not saying Dabo needs to get fired. I'm just saying – something's got to give, man. This Clemson team should be embarrassed.
Look, if Dabo doesn't want to have anything to do with the transfer portal, he doesn't have to, right? He can sit up there in his ivory tower and say, I'm taking my hands off of this. Garrett, you handle it. Wes, you handle it. I don't want to be involved.
Yeah.
Just put a player on my roster. I don't care how you got him here. Just if he's on my roster, he's on my roster, and I'm going to coach him. Now, that's not how, that's antithetical to the way head coaches used to always do things, right? As you go and you personally recruit the biggest and best guys out there. But I mean, if you don't feel like you want to deal with it, if you feel like you're above it, then be above it, then float above it. Just take your hands off the wheel and let somebody else handle it, Dabo, because by God, you are falling so far short when it comes to talent.
What are the Tolos saying? The stream and the text line. Wesley says, I can promise you as a Clemson fan, Clemson fans were talking. It's embarrassing. I think we lose to South Carolina. Appreciate your honesty there, Wesley. I do too. I really do. I think Clemson loses to South Carolina. JD says, I would be willing to bet Dabo uses the portal this year, and if he doesn't, it'd be good riddance. JD, I don't disagree with you. Adatola says, jumped in just to let you know there is no chance for Clemson as a Clemson fan. More than happy to talk about the failure of this season. Appreciate that. Mike says, I personally cashed a $200 ticket at 145. Okay, that's politics related, so we'll stick to sports on this sports show. Let me go back to the text line, Diesel. Texter says, even if they somehow get into the ACC championship game, if they lose to the Gamecocks, second entry ACC is far from certainty. I agree with that. Texter from the 203 says, I have personally enjoyed the demise of Clemson.
But you have.
You probably have. Look, you should. You should, right? Texter says, this is JT and Greer. Clemson has a harder schedule down the stretch than either SMU or Miami. Could drop a game to Virginia Tech or Pitt. I agree with that.
Appreciate you, JT and Greer, for putting your name on your text. All Tolos, please. All Tolos, please put your name on your text.
If you do, I don't have to say. 803 says, preach, Cole. I heard a stat that SMU brought in 13 O-line and D-line players. Are you listening, Dabo? We don't need that many, but dip a toe or two. Oh, that's Sheezy. I'm sorry, Sheezy. I didn't see your name. Sheezy did put his name on the text. 828, all caps, Diesel says, hit the transfer portal, Dabo. Now, usually all caps is Tom.
That's not Tom.
Tom's not a Clemson.
That's not Tom, though.
So somebody else is using all caps. Now we've got some confusion.
I'm surprised he didn't say hit the transfer portal Dabo or hit the road Jack.
Maybe he means Dabo needs to get the transfer portal. I don't think that's Tom either. But Tiger Pal Rachel says, obviously Clemson. Now we're hearing some from Clemson fans. Love it. Tiger Pal Rachel says, obviously Clemson would love or would have to win the ACC, which they won't. Heck, based on last Saturday, they'll be lucky to beat Virginia Tech, Pitt, and South Carolina at this point. Diesel, think about this. Clemson fans right now aren't certain that they're going to beat their rival.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you're a Clemson fan, those are dark days.
That's bad, man.
I mean, let's be real. Clemson has 2 losable games down the stretch. I don't think you're going to have a problem with Virginia Tech. I don't think you're going to go out there and put up 500 yards of offense on Virginia Tech, not at their place. But, Cole, it's very possible that you lose to Pitt because you might not be able to score with them, and then we'll have the same kind of issues that you had against Louisville, not having the mental toughness to play from behind. And then South Carolina is just flat out better than you. They're just flat out better than, especially on defense. Now, if they can harass and frustrate Cade Klubnik, it's over. It's over because then he's going to throw a pick or two. They're going to take one back to the end zone, and the game is going to be over before halftime. They're going to be trailing out of that stadium, and they're not coming back in after they go get a couple of halftime beers.
Wesley says, I don't blame Gamecocks for enjoying Clemson losing. I would, too, if I only had a chance to beat my rival once a decade. Bam. Throwing shade right back. I like it. But the reality is, Wesley, I mean, yeah, you're right. It has felt like that, but the reality is it's trending in the wrong direction. It's not trending in the direction Clemson fans want it to trend. And I know things could happen. I know Clemson could somehow beat South Carolina. I'm not saying it's a foregone conclusion that Clemson loses to South Carolina. I'm just saying, based on the product that Diesel and I saw Saturday from both teams, talking about the eye test, what else do you have to see? I mean, Clemson did not look good. South Carolina looked really, really good, like a really good SEC football team, and that should scare you.
Corn Chip gets in and says, you guys coming to Easley or Powdersville anytime soon? Can't make it over today, but I'll plan to stop by at one of those locations. Well, as a matter of fact, Corn Chip, 2 weeks from today, That would be November 20th. We're going to be at the Ingalls at 410 Pelzer Highway in Easley. But as of right now, we are at the one at 429 East Main Street in Liberty. We would love to see you Tolos out here. We'd love to see you get the trivia question right and walk out of here with a $25 Ingalls gift card. That would be awesome.
And
Cole,
give me a room. I might need a room, a place to stay tonight. I mean, it might be Friday by the time I get back home. I didn't know where I was at today. Have we been here? We've been here
here before, yeah.
It just, I'm telling you, man, I was
down
like,
here.
We are out in the boonies today. And no offense to Liberty. Liberty seems like a nice place, country place. I like to get some land.
You said we're out in the boonies, and she looked over here like, we're not in the boonies. This is my hometown.
No, I'm sorry. I apologize.
She look at her. She's smiling now.
Well, she can smile.
We'd love to see you out here today, guys. Come and see us. When we come back, Cole, I want to ask you the question, how well do you deal with change? Do you fight it kicking and screaming?
Usually, I just like dollar bills better.
Oh, okay. That's fair. We'll get to that next on the other side on the Fan Upstate.
And Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
Tolos were just 15 minutes away from the wire-to-wire upset pick challenge, brought to you by Ingles from Going Live. Have you got some games that you're thinking about? Are you still narrowing it down? Well, you got just a couple more minutes to figure it out, and then we'll be taking yours from you.
A lot more than
you got okay. Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter for you because you don't get them right anyway. So honestly, you could throw a dart at a dartboard.
That's what I'm gonna do.
And that might be.
I'm gonna ask
more
one of them
effective
over there. I need some help. I'm going to ask the Starbucks workers.
Cole, how are you at dealing with change? That was the question I asked going into the break. Obviously, we're dealing with a large national change going on right now with a different party taking over the presidency. Actually, it's kind of not that much of a change because we're going back to a president we previously had. So there's change and there's not change going on at the same time, Cole. It's been 18 years, and I still call them the 1AA playoffs. I get now I'm feeling really old when I say it's been 18 years since they changed it from 1AA to FCS. It's been how many years since Washington stopped being the Redskins? But I still find myself saying it sometimes.
It still, to me, is the Redskins.
Yeah, same with the Cleveland Indians. It's hard not to say Cleveland Indians because, we grew up with it. It's ingrained in us, Cole. But we're going to have to do the same thing with a brand new Major League Baseball franchise for a couple of years. And then we're going to have to, as soon as we get used to that, obviously we're going to have to change it right back to something else. The Oakland A's, Cole, have officially dropped Oakland from their name. It's gone. The official media release is out there that says, do not call us the Oakland A's, no matter what you do.
I'll tell you this real quick. Sometimes I still find myself getting confused with the LA and the LV. So like the Chargers, Los Angeles Chargers.
Well, one is the point looks up, the other one it points down.
Yeah, but they used to be San Diego. So a lot of times I'm thinking San Diego Chargers, right? Madcraft, right? And then Los Angeles Rams. St. Louis used to be St. Louis. And then the Raiders, the Vegas Raiders, Oakland Raiders, same thing. It's a lot of newness. It takes me time. And now you mentioned the baseball team. No more Oakland. Number one, I think it's a really good move. So what happened on the last day of that stadium when everybody showed up and protested and wanted to keep the team there? I don't have any empathy for that because you did that one day. The entire past 15 years, you never showed up to games. Now, the product was horrible, right? The product was not a good product. The ownership sucked. I think it's a good move. I'm glad. Look, baseball, Vegas needs a baseball team. I mean, it's Las Vegas for crying out loud.
But Las Vegas, it's not a small city by any means, Cole. There are locals that live there, that work there, that populate the casinos and the strip clubs and the bars and the fast food joints all over the area, Cole. But it's a transient city where people fly in for a weekend, they fly out. What is that going to do for attendance on a day-by-day basis if the team is not elite? And I'm talking electrifyingly elite. You're going to have an empty stadium in Las Vegas. It might be one of the dumbest things Major League Baseball has ever done.
Well, here's the deal, though. Las Vegas, their current population, they have 660,000 people, almost 661,000 people that live there. That's 200,000 more than Oakland had. So it's not going to get any worse. I'm with you. It is a city that's known as the city where people go in and out of, but they have 200,000 more people that live there than Oakland did. And
Oakland, how many people? 600,000?
Yeah, just over 600.
Guess what? That's barely a third of what the upstate of South Carolina has. As far as population-wise. I'm just saying, for the sake of argument, if you wanted to plop a team here, you got a lot more people who live here who could be buying tickets to your games on a regular basis.
And the difference is, though, the money. The money. The money that's
you got people there who are willing to invest and create
the casinos
entertainment for people. Here, they don't want that.
No.
They don't want investment. They don't want taxes. I mean, we just saw them yesterday. Everybody shot down that penny sales tax that would have helped fix our crumbling roads. I saw in the news this morning, not to go political here, but I saw in the news this morning that Greenville County is the only county in the upstate that doesn't have a penny sales tax to fix roads.
Oh, well, yeah. I live in Spartanburg County, and it doesn't seem great there in terms of the roads. But no, look, I like it. I've been to Las Vegas once, and I am dying to go back.
Mm-hmm.
You know me. I like the wager. I like the wagertainment industry. I love sports gambling, betting odds. I love all that stuff. Vegas to me is awesome. I love that there's a baseball team there. The Sphere. I mean, are you kidding me?
I want to go to a show there.
Oh my God,
I would do anything.
That's
for a
bucket
show
list. That's bucket list.
But they don't put the kind of bands at the Sphere that I want to go see. I want to go see Iron Maiden at the Sphere. Well, that would be awesome.
Well, they might. You never know. They might want.
Well, they're getting old. But no, so Cole. Now, I just wanted you to not be confused when you're watching Major League Baseball next year, and you turn it on. You're watching, I don't know, the Cubs and ATH play, and you're like, athlete. Why are they playing the athletes? Oh no, they're playing the Athletics. They're not Oakland anymore. They're just the Athletics. Just as previously it was the Washington football team. They're just the Athletics. Temporarily, they're going to be playing in a shoebox of a stadium that holds 14,000 people in West Sacramento before they eventually move out to Las Vegas in 2028.
I like it. Let me say this. I'm interested. I'm intrigued.
The only problem, Cole, is they're not putting Sacramento branding on anything. And tell me how many people would buy Sacramento Athletics, Sacktown Athletics gear, just on a temporary basis, understanding it's not going to be there around for long.
I want them to figure out how to play a game in the Sphere. I know that's probably not possible, but how cool would that be? If they could somehow.
How trippy would that be?
It'd be. I don't think it's big enough on the inside. I know it could be. We got to run because 8 minutes from now we are going to attempt for the fourth week in a row to break the record on the Upset Picks Challenge. We need the Tolos to come out strong. 71307 is the way you can text the show. You need to find a underdog to outright win the game. Text us the game, your name, and the spread. Keyword fan. Again, that's 71307. It's not too late to join. And it's brought to you by Ingles Markets. The Upset Picks Challenge opens 7 minutes from right now, Tolos. We'll see you in 7 minutes from now, and you can get your upset pick in on the other side. This is the Fan Upstate.
court and the gridiron to the tracks.
Electrifying sports talk from start to finish.
You're going wire to wire
With Diesel and Cole Bryson.
on the Fan Upstate.
It is time. Ready, set, go. 1, 2, 3, whatever you want to call it. The Upset Picks Challenge is OPEN. It's open. It's time. It's Wednesday. It's time to try your absolute best. Diesel, I need all the luck. I need all the fortune I can get because
you need help. Is what you need.
Well, I need a lot of people will probably say that same thing, but I'm telling you, man, I need a lot of luck when it comes to it does. I need something when it comes to the Upset Picks Challenge. It's been a struggle. So, Tolo's out there. If you've played in the challenge, if you've participated, you know what to do. We need your pick. Don't wait till later. Go ahead and get it in right now. And then Tolos that have not played in the challenge and participated in the challenge, it's not too late. You can participate. All you have to do is find a game that you like where the underdog you think somehow, some way is going to win the game outright. You text your name, the game, and the amount of points, which is the spread, to 71307. Start your text with the word fan. Diesel and DB lock the spreads in at 3 o'clock today, so they're locked in. But it's time to get the ball rolling. 71307. Perfect example here. Matt M. from Gaffney, Florida, plus 21.5 over Texas. That is how you successfully enter the challenge, Diesel. And it's brought to you by Ingles, where we're sitting right now. Always
right.
love being at Ingles because they are the absolute best, but the Upset Picks Challenge is open. Also want to give you clue number 2. Diesel gave you clue number 1 a minute ago in terms of how you can win a $25 Ingles gift card. Diesel said, many people love blending this item with joy. That was clue number 1.
Weed?
Yeah, I mean, that counts.
We've got Delvin's got some picks.
Yes, number 2, clue number 2, the main ingredient in a healthy milk.
Oh,
man, these are strong clues, right?
Yeah, if joy and milk doesn't give it away,
yeah,
I don't know what does.
But you have to come by Ingles and enter the
429 East Main Street in Liberty.
That's right. Enter your chance to win a $25 Ingles gift card. We do it every single time we're on location. It could be you that's the lucky winner if you live or work over in the Liberty area. And Delvin is on the line. We're told, Diesel. Did Delvin hit last week? I believe he did.
Delvin did hit.
Let's
Delvin
go,
is
Delvin.
on the board.
What's up, man?
2 seconds.
Delvin, coming to you in 2 seconds. 844-FAN phone, 844-326-3663. I always read that
right,
number.
there we go.
When we're on location, sometimes I second guess myself.
Can you hear me?
Delvin,
yeah,
we got you now.
Delvin.
What's up, buddy?
Yeah, thank you, Syracuse. I appreciate it, man. Let me go Wake Forest plus 7 over Cal.
Wake Forest plus 7 over Cal. That's a home game for Wake Forest. Cal's traveling all the way across the country. What do you see in there that makes you like this game so much, Delvin?
Wake Forest is starting to get momentum, guys. They're starting to win the last couple games. They're starting to get some momentum. I'm liking the momentum they got going.
So you're saying if Wake Forest played Clemson today, you might take Wake Forest?
You see Clemson defense against Louisville?
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Appreciate the phone call, Delvin.
Oh, that's
got
good
his
stuff.
pick in.
I kind of like that game. I can't afford to take it though, Diesel. That's the problem. I have to bank on games that are way more than 7 points, but I like that game. The home dog always intrigues me there.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, it's not like they're going to be playing with some gigantic home field advantage. It's not BB&T Field anymore. I don't even know what they call it nowadays.
Wake.
Wake. But look, it's not a huge stadium. It doesn't get super, super loud. They're not having a
football school.
They're not a football school. They're not having a phenomenal season. So, look, I mean, Cal is walking into a relatively friendly situation coming into this game. So anything is possible.
Want to let you know we had 5 new Tolos last week get in on the challenge. So far, we have Palmetto Buckeyes, who wants Louisiana Monroe over Texas State plus 7. JT and Greer wanting Florida plus 21.5 over Texas. That's a big one. Just Jess says ULM plus 7 versus Texas State. UNLV. This is Luis, the 13th. Hawaii plus 13.5 versus UNLV. Red Matt M from Gaffney. He also wants Florida, Texas. CJ from Greer, Louisiana Monroe plus 7 over Texas State. Mays and Brew, Wake plus 7 over Cal. So that makes 2 already, Wake and Cal. 2 Florida over Texas, 21.5. Can I interest you in that one? Florida over Texas? Why?
No, you can't.
Billy Napier's playing better, though.
Yeah, but Texas is not going to crap the bed twice in the same year. It ain't going to happen, man.
Oh, God.
It ain't going to happen.
I did look at that game, though, by the way.
We do have a couple celebrity guest picks to get out there for you. Not going to give away Chris Phillips's, but he did send his to me already. Melissa Level from Ingalls Markets here. She's taking Tennessee plus 24 against Georgia. Plus 24. What did the whole team, come down with the pox?
Say that one more time.
Oh, no, sorry. I think Melissa gave me the wrong game.
I think Melissa might have
I copied and pasted what Melissa gave us.
That's why I paused. I was like, wait a
Mississippi State. I'm going to go back and find this message that Jay sent us. This is what Jay, our sales rep, said. She'll take Tennessee over Georgia. Tennessee's not playing Georgia.
Maybe basketball, soccer,
I don't know.
Lacrosse.
I don't know. We're gonna have to follow up with Melissa on that one because that was just flat out incorrect.
They don't play.
No, they don't. Still waiting to hear back from Josh Pate, from Jake Crane, from Shane Connick. Diddy is taking Middle Tennessee State plus 11 over Liberty. Liberty's lost 2 games in a row, Cole.
They've been disappointing, man.
They have
been disappointing. And I thought the Kennesaw State game kind of might have been a fluke, right? Like, it's okay. One time you give them a pass. But, geez, man, that's inexcusable. So I don't hate that. I mean, 3 in a row, though. Do they lose 3 that they're not supposed to? I don't know. But I'll tell you this. I'm looking. I've got a few, but I have not found one that I love yet. Have you found one that you love?
I've got some games that I mentioned on the show yesterday.
Sure.
And I've got to look around, Cole, and see if there's anything else that's going to change my mind. Because I think I'm pretty well locked in with where I want to be with my pick. I like my favorite pick from yesterday, Cole. But as I'm sort of scrolling around, seeing what else is going on out there, I'm gonna see if anything else looks a little bit tastier to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you. This is a strange week. I don't know. Like, usually, Diesel, there are 3 or 4 that really jump off to me. I hadn't found that yet. And again, I agree with what Diddy said. The Liberty Middle Tennessee State game, I kind of like that one. It's 11 points. Mm-hmm. I really need like 1,100 points, but it'd still be nice to get on the board. I did look at Marshall, Southern Miss. Marshall, they're good.
But Southern Miss stinks.
They stink. Yeah, I'm not going to pick that one.
This week's a tough one, Cole, because there's a lot of sub 5-point spreads, and then there's a lot of 20-point spreads. It's another tough one where you don't really have a whole lot of teams that are 10-point favorites, 2 touchdown favorites. Those are the ones that you kind of feel like you need to pick those because it's going to help you out in the challenge.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, breaking news. I have mine.
Really?
I have mine.
Really?
Yep. Breaking news just in from ESPN. Cole has his upset pick. Yep, that's a great sound.
What do you got?
I am going 3:30 on Saturday. Michigan plus 14 over Indiana. Michigan wins on Saturday plus 14 over Indiana. What do you think?
You do realize it's 2024 and not 2023, right?
Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that.
I think you're thinking of old school Michigan. You're not thinking of this Michigan. You're thinking of last year's Michigan, and your helmet's counting a little bit.
Well, guess what? I have no choice. The helmets. I have no choice but to. Indiana, look, I know they're 9-0. They have a really good head football coach. They're a good team, but maybe I'm just banking on the blue blood to pull me through this week. I mean, come on, you could gave me a little bit more life than that.
Speaking of which, we haven't gone over the standings. They came out late in the show yesterday. Dan B, who was flying the Charlotte Hornets to a road game on Monday, he put this graphic together for us. He does a fantastic job doing so. And Dan B got it over to us. We gave you the top 10 yesterday. Twisted Whisker, Noel, John Dog, Reed Atkins, Joe D, Amazon Guy, Billy Horn, T. Ray, Justin L., Notre Dame Nate, and Roger Carper round out the top 10. You got Greenville Gamecock in 12th with 39.5 points. Scotty Mack is in 13th with 36. Buckeye Brian has 35.5 points. He's in 14th place. Jake Crane from Crane and Company has 34 points. He took the same game as I did last week.
Oh, did he?
He took Texas Tech again. I was cussing Texas Tech
your
inbox, and then all of a sudden they turned it around and totally redeemed themselves. I just wonder, Cole, if Josh Pate knows that Jake Crane has jumped him, because now Jake is 1 point better than Josh Pate. They're in 15th and 16th place respectively with 34 and 33 points. If you guys want to check out the full upset pick standings, guys, this thing has gotten so big. In years past, we would have like 25 Tolos that had points. Just 25 that had points, Cole.
We have 25 million.
Yeah. We have, as of right now, 121 Tolos who have points.
That's awesome.
On the board. Now, Ruby Downs from Ingalls Markets, she has half a point. Could drop all the way back out of this challenge again this week. But, hey, Ruby Downs is like a phoenix, man. She's fallen out of the realm of the Tolos with points, and then she's climbed back in with the correct pick. And then she falls out after a couple weeks, and then she climbs back in. So I have faith in Ruby Downs to get it right this week. Big Dom has one point, as does Gus Mosley. And if we don't get picks from Josh, P1 Panther Boy, Ayatollah of Rock and Rolla, Hard Knocks, Ben D Artist, they could fall all the way out of the points as well.
So here's why I'm going Michigan. Indiana's really good. Indiana's really, they're 9-0. Kurt Signetti's done I think he's done a really good job, like coach of the year worthy. I really do. He's
great coach.
He's a really good coach.
He's only going to be under 2.5 years. How long will he be there?
I'd say under. I'd say under, yeah.
He might be gone after this year.
He might be. Michigan, though, has won the last 3. Last season, again, it was a different Michigan team. It was 52-7. Michigan won. It wasn't close. They were 31.5 favorites. The only thing that I'm hoping for here is, and I know it's a different Michigan team, Michigan knows how to beat Indiana. They've dominated the series 62-10. They know how to beat the Hoosiers. And I'm just thinking, I'm banking that Michigan pulls one out of there, on Saturday. That's where I'm going. So I'm as of right now, I'm confident, but you know how my confidence, it wavers.
Yeah, it's up and down and up and down. Cole, I think I'm ready to make my upset pick, and I am swinging for the fences on this one. You know why? Because I feel really good about where I am, even if I don't hit. I currently have, Cole, I have 26.5 points. I am in 23rd place. I am going to take the Arkansas State mascot.
Oh, man, I know this one. Arkansas State.
Red Wolves.
Red Wolves.
To upset the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns. That one worth 16.5 points. This Arkansas State's a good team. I understand that Louisiana is kind of back to being the Louisiana of 5 years ago, back when Billy Napier was there. They were winning a bunch of football games, Cole. But the atmosphere is going to be nothing because only half of the stadium is being sold right now as they are refurbishing the stadium. It's going to be beautiful. Cajun Field's going to be great once they finally get everything put back together.
16.5.
16.5.
That's a big swinger.
Points. It is.
That's a big swinger.
This is a rivalry game, though. It's a Sun Belt West football game, and I think Arkansas State may shock the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns.
Texter, I believe this is JD. JD doesn't sign his text, but I think I've recognized his numbers. He says, dang, people killing my Texas State pick. I guess I got to go somewhere else. Let's see. TCU Scotty Mack, or it's not his name, you idiot. It's Scotty Mack. TCU Scotty.
You got Billy Horn on the line. He's got some picks.
Oklahoma State plus 10.5 over TCU. Greenville Gamecock, Wake over Cal plus 7. JB wants VT over Clemson 6.5. Greenville Gamecock, though, before we go to the phones, Diesel, he said he's making the drive up to Nashville for the game. Hopefully, don't make the drive to be disappointed, says Greenville Gamecock. Well, hey, best of luck to you, Greenville Gamecock. Tag us in some pictures when you get up there on Twitter, at Diesel on Radio. That's where Diesel is. I'm at the Cole Bryson. Hopefully, you follow the Fan Upstate. Did I hear Billy Horn?
He's not a Cole Bryson. He's the Cole
That's right, not
Bryson.
A.
Yeah, we got him. He's got
Billy
some picks
Horn.
for us.
Let's go to the phones where Billy Horn has some picks. Billy, what's up, man?
Not much, fellas. How we doing today?
Great.
Diesel, thanks for the good pick last week.
You're welcome.
I was thinking about taking Arkansas State with you again, but I like Middle Tennessee State over Liberty.
Okay. That
Middle
one,
Tennessee. That's
that one was worth. That was Diddy's pick, and I'm trying to find that was worth 11 points. What do you think? What's going on with the team like Liberty, who was mowing them down to start the season? How does that happen? Like, what changes in the psyche of a football team to have them just suddenly go ice cold?
Well, not only did they go ice cold, but I think their poor play, even though they were winning games, is finally catching up with them.
They finally got into the meat of the schedule.
God, what meat?
Well, come on, you lost to Kennesaw State.
It's thin slice.
It's
Horrible
turkey.
all year.
Hey, appreciate the
Thank you,
pick, Billy.
That's a good pick.
Y'all have a good one, boys.
Thank you,
man.
Billy. That's a good pick. And Billy Horn, by the way, I mentioned him earlier. Billy Horn is in 7th place with 46 points. He hits that one, Cole. He'll be at 57 points and could
be good.
Find himself inside the top 5.
We've got
and he's been on a heater too.
He has. We've got Kelley Ford coming up in just a few minutes. I'll hit a few more. Perk wants VT plus 6.5 over Clem sucks. Does that count?
That does count. That counts. that counts.
Jeff R wants Michigan over Indiana 14. Jeff R is with me. Sorry about that, Jeff R. Boomer Bill wants Wake over Cal. West Virginia fan 214 says Washington plus 13 at Penn State. Chris Arnett, Georgia Tech plus 11 over Miami. Mark Yellow Ducks, Wake plus 7 over Cal. Scotty Mack, 13th to 10th this week, says Scotty Mack. That is pretty good. Tolo Steve also going Middle Tennessee plus 11 over
Is that our
Liberty.
boss? Is that Steve Zenacroppy?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it is.
We need to get Steve in the challenge. Steve, by the way, Tolo Steve has 17 points. He's inside the top 50.
That's good, man.
He's sitting in a
17
good spot.
That's a really good spot.
And how many points do you have, Cole?
Negative something.
13. That's an unlucky number too.
It
I
is.
wouldn't want to be
It's
picking
bad.
with 13 points.
It's bad.
I'd want to get it wrong. I'd want to get it wrong just to get back to 12.
Well, don't have to worry. I probably will. G says Clemson will be lucky to go to a bowl game. Oh, good night.
Wow.
I mean, we're down on Clemson now, aren't we? But continue, even though we have Kelley coming up next, continue to get your upset picks in 71307.
Always streaming on the free Odyssey app. Search. at 71307. Keyword fan. This is Wire to Wire with Cole, Bryson, and Diesel on the Fan.
Upstate.
It's going to make you smarter in this segment, or, I don't know, make your head hurt just a little bit. We go to the phone lines, bring on a regular guest here on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. Kelley Ford of KFordRatings.com does a phenomenal job over there on his website. Kelley, going to start things off very simple, very generic. How badly did the CFP screw it up? You know, your power ratings vary wildly from the CFP's top 25. I know your most deserving ratings don't come out until tomorrow. So scale of 1 to 10, how'd they do?
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me as always. And it's a fun time of year because we have the real ranking, something that we can react to and really talk about as opposed to the AP. I think the committee did okay. I really didn't know what to expect when you come. In the past, yes, the rankings mattered, and they mattered 1 to 25. But the reality was, with only a 14 playoff, you were probably only looking at the top 10, maybe 12, 15 at the absolute most in terms of the spots that would matter for a playoff invitation at the end of the day, or at the end of the season, I should say. Now with the 12-team playoff and how you have the auto bid, I think the entire top 25 matters. And to the point where I actually think a team that's not ranked and it's relevant for you guys should actually be kind of upset here. So the biggest discrepancies that I had from how the committee did and the negative side, there were 4 teams that I think were misranked by 5+ spots. Vanderbilt, Pitt, and probably not a lot of people are going to be upset about those two, but BYU coming in at number 9, I'd have them number 4 in my most deserving rankings. Now, they'd still be the number 4 seed, right, based on how the seeding works, but I think that their ranking is pretty poor right now based on the resume they have, and that does matter for them because what it tells me is the committee doesn't think that BYU has much margin for error, even though they're still undefeated. I don't think that's right given the resume they have. But, guys, the biggest misranked team by the committee is a team that's not ranked at all, and that's right there in your backyard, South Carolina. I have South Carolina number 19 in my most deserving rankings. For the purposes of this exercise, I assumed the committee had the number 26, so that they have a -7 in terms of their placement relative to what I would expect. But it's possible, we don't know, that South Carolina is actually farther back because the committee doesn't give us anything past 25. So to me, South Carolina has the biggest gripe of any team. I'd give the committee a 6 out of 10. I don't know. I think they got it fairly right, but there are a couple big misses. South Carolina and BYU especially stand out.
Kelley, you tweeted at us just a few moments ago before we brought you on. You brought up South Carolina. I'm glad you did so because SEC Mike, he quoted your tweet. He said South Carolina is the committee's most underranked team, and we talked about it yesterday. Diesel and I did. In fact, I texted you about it to get a little more insight, and I know you do this on Thursday, so we're a day early here. But for our listeners out there, Diesel and I were having this conversation. Is there somehow, some way, a path for the Gamecocks in the college football playoff according to your models?
I still think there is. Now, when I say I still think there's a path, Cole, I'm talking about from a data standpoint and from what South Carolina's resume would look like if they were to win out. And let's be clear, that they would need to win out even from my perspective with my numbers. Now, I'm not sure because I don't know where the committee has them, how realistic this path actually is. But South Carolina, Vanderbilt on the road, Missouri at home, Wofford at home, and finishing the year at Clemson, those are the 4 games left. And if South Carolina were to win out, which my numbers assign a 22% chance that would happen, at 9-3, given the schedule South Carolina played, I would have them in that CFP at-large conversation. So I think there's about a 1-4, 1-5 chance that from a numbers standpoint, South Carolina should be in the CFP at-large conversation. Now, will they be based on how the committee is clearly viewing them to this point? I don't know, because when you look at the teams left, I'm not sure that how the committee judges resumes is different than how I do, and different than how I think it should be done. But using the committee's approach, Vanderbilt's not ranked. Missouri, yes, they are ranked, but I mean, if South Carolina were to beat them, Missouri's probably not ranked anymore. And then you have Clemson, of course, who we talk about teams that should be upset with the committee. I think South Carolina has a legit beef. Clemson is among the teams that should be happiest with what the committee has done. The committee has put them at number 23 for right now, I do believe it was. I have Clemson at number 28 in my most deserving, so I think they're about 5 spots too high in the committee's ranking.
Kelley Ford of KFordRatings right here on the Fan Upstate, Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. Kelley, Colorado sits at 20th in the CFP rankings. Still to go with Texas Tech, Utah, Kansas, and Oklahoma State, the bottom half of the Big 12. In your mind, is there enough of a path for Colorado potentially to get into the 12-team playoff? And, how much of that matters on Iowa State winning out?
Yeah, so Colorado, I talked about Clemson being 5 spots overranked by the committee. There's 2 teams that are actually 6 spots overranked by the committee. That would be Notre Dame for me and Colorado. I have Colorado number 26 in my most deserving. The committee does have them at 20, which I did find pretty surprising given their resume. Again, I think South Carolina has a more impressive resume than Colorado, and it's really not that close at this stage. Even though South Carolina does have an extra loss, they played a significantly more difficult schedule. Clearly, the committee is counting losses here. Colorado, you look at their remaining games, I only have a 15% chance that they win out. It's a toss-up this week at Texas Tech. It's a toss-up in 2 weeks on the road at Kansas. They're probably going to be, a touchdown or so favored against Utah and Oklahoma State at least. So I certainly think that the wins are there to be had, but 15% chance is not very high. And Colorado certainly, to have any chance of getting in the CFP, I believe, is going to have to go 10-2. Their best path, guys, probably, my guess is through the Big 12 automatic bid that they would get if they make it to Arlington and win that game. And I do believe it all depends. If they win out and Iowa State wins out, then there's a tiebreaker. And I think they need Texas Tech to finish above Kansas State in the conference standings or something like that is what they would need for it to break their way. So the tiebreakers are wild when the conferences are this big and you don't have a true round robin. So Colorado's path to the playoff for me right now, pretty darn slim. I'd put it at 15% at best. But again, I have Colorado at 26. The committee's got them at 20. So I think the committee is liking it a little bit more than I am, certainly. So you can bump that percentage up a little bit.
Kelley Ford, KFord Ratings. His website's fantastic. You can visit the website, KFordRatings.com. Kelley, you mentioned in the Week 10 most deserving, Clemson dropping 8 spots to 28. For the Clemson fans out there in the audience, can you go into why, not necessarily what the formula is when it comes to most deserving, but what caused Clemson with the formula to drop 8 spots?
Yeah, so it's all about, with the most deserving rankings, it's all about how much have you achieved against your schedule relative to what would be expected of what I use as the denominator, the number 12 power-rated team to achieve against that same schedule. And so for Clemson, being previously at 6-1, I did have them at number 20 because, a neutral site loss to Georgia, the number 12 team is going to be expected to lose to neutral site to Georgia. So that's not holding Clemson back. What was holding Clemson back, even though they were throttling teams, especially, early in the year after the Georgia game, there was not really any quality wins on Clemson's schedule. From a power rating standpoint, and that's how I do and how I believe we as a committee should assign credit to building a resume is based on your opponent's power ratings, which are dynamic. They do change week over week based on how a team plays. For example, Clemson, they were actually downgraded by the model following the loss to Louisville, but because of other teams moving around them, Clemson actually moved up a spot in the power ratings after their loss. Their power rating went down and their power rating ranking went up. Clemson's number 13 in the model this week. But if we look at Clemson's resume, here's who's on it, guys. Home win against number 99 power rated App State. Home win against number 69 NC State. Home win against 98 Stanford. On the road at 70 Florida State. On the road 87 Wake Forest. And home win against 71 Virginia. There is not a power-rated team better than 69 that Clemson has beat. They've had 2 tests so far. Georgia and Louisville dropped them both. Now, Clemson has a chance to move up, certainly, down the stretch here, because Virginia Tech's number 29, that's on the road. Pitt's number 36, that's on the road. The Citadels and FCS, you're not going to get a lot of credit there from anybody, including me. But then South Carolina, at home to end the year, is number 14. So if you look at who has the most left on their schedule, the most flexibility to move up my most deserving, it is Clemson. If they win out, and I have a 24% chance of that happens, this is a team that I fully expect to be in this CFP conversation. Whether or not they go to Charlotte is almost irrelevant for their chance to be in the conversation. Of course, your chance is better if you're in that game because you win it in. But I don't know if Miami or SMU are dropping a game. Clemson is still alive for an at-large because their resume is going to be significantly improved if they win these next 4 games in front of them. 24% chance by my numbers that they do it.
Well, Kelley, I wanted to be friends with you until you pointed out that my App State Mountaineers were 99th power ranking. Thanks a lot for rubbing that in. They have won 2 in a row, by the way. Just wanted to point that out. But Kelley, one of the most frustrating things to any fan who's watched the college football playoff rankings over the last decade, you can't really figure out what it is that the committee values. And it feels like it shifts from season to season and sometimes even week to week. Have you ever attempted to reverse engineer what the playoff committee seems to be valuing? If you could look at it from a purely analytical standpoint, have you ever attempted that?
I have attempted that. This is going back 5 or 6 years now. It's really when I was starting out with the ratings, and I wanted to try to model and predict how the committee would behave. And guys, the reality is trying to model human behavior, especially when the composition changes year over year, is difficult. It's not impossible. There are some people out there who try to do this and who do it fairly well, to be fair to them. So I do think that it can be done. I have stopped attempting to do it because I just so fundamentally at a core level disagree with how the committee's process operates. I don't believe it is a good process. And when you have a bad process, the result is almost inconsequential to me, because when you have a bad process, it is possible you can get good results, but more times than not, you're going to get bad results. And I care much more about process than results. And their process is not very good, in my opinion. I've been pretty open about that. It's not that we can't fix it. We can. I think there are ways, and I've tried to outline some of those both on social media and in conversations, but I don't think the process is very good. If you're asking me, what do you think, Kelley, they value? It does vary year to year. I agree with you on that. They're really looking at it remains, I think, with the exception of Florida State last year with the injury situation at quarterback, and that was the exception, not the rule. Guys, they count losses. And again, BYU and Indiana right now with their rankings, especially BYU, you could say, yeah, well, they're not really doing that here. You're right. They seem to have placed a lesser importance at the top this year on counting losses. I do think they count them at the bottom, right? That's why South Carolina is not in there when they should be. But also, I think they're looking at, and I hate this, quote, big wins and, quote, bad losses. Like, guys, your record is your record against your schedule. And how they quantify a big win, how they qualify that is, a top 10 CFP ranking, a top 25 CFP ranking, a 500 or better opponent. Like, guys, those are mind-boggling poor benchmarks to use when you're trying to put together a ranking and judge a resume. It is so fundamentally flawed that I can't explain it in the 2 minutes we have left in the segment. Maybe we can do an extra time or a podcast at some point. We can really dive in for those interested. But it is so bad, it drives me absolutely nuts, and they continue to do it.
Kelley, my last question for you. We know that South Carolina Vandy is the biggest storyline in the SEC year in and year out, right? Said no one ever. However, 2024, it's a pretty big storyline because Vandy's had a really good season, and so is South Carolina. What's your numbers? What's your formula say for those Gamecock fans out there that are a little hesitant because, look, Gamecocks, they win big. Sometimes the next week they follow up with disappointment.
Yeah, I got both of these teams still in the CFP at-large conversation, guys, both with 3 losses on the year so far, but both have played really tough schedules and have really tough games to go. I mean, you look at Vanderbilt's remaining schedule after you guys, only 2 games, but on the road at LSU, home to Tennessee, it's tough. So both these teams still in it. My numbers do like South Carolina in this game, and I like you guys by more than one score here. It's a 73% win expectancy. I think you've got the advantage on both sides of the ball. Having to go on the road is not ideal, but I think it's your defense that has the bigger advantage here. And I know Pavi has got it going, and a lot of people like him, and I like his swagger and what he's able to do. But your defense right now for South Carolina coming in at number 11 nationally. The defense has been phenomenal. The Vanderbilt offense for me is number 34. So it is a strength on strength. Those are the 2 better sides of the ball for each of these teams. The Vanderbilt defense number 70, the South Carolina offense number 54. I think South Carolina gets it done on the road. I think they probably win by about a touchdown. I got this game as a 9.0 out of 10 on my watchability. So I will certainly be tuned in. And I think it's critically important for South Carolina to get this win. And I do expect, if South Carolina wins this, I do expect them to be ranked in the committee's top 25 next week. Probably not high enough, but at least they'll be in there.
Kelley, have you done any work modeling how you think the 12-team playoff, as they put it out yesterday, if the season ended right here, right now, this is what the 12-team playoff would look like. Have you done any work modeling how that might go? And is there anybody that, even if you haven't done that yet, off the top of your head, who you think could surprise some people and make a deeper run than they expect?
Diesel, I've done this. Yeah, I posted about it here today. I ran the analysis last night because I was curious. Based on current power ratings and the committee's current playoff bracket, again, so those are the parameters here. I have Ohio State with the best chance to win the national championship coming out of the 5 seed spot. 30% chance that Ohio State would take down Boise State, then BYU, and then it would be they play Oregon after that if seeds hold, and then ultimately I'd have them going up against Georgia coming out of the other side of the bracket. So best chance to win a national championship based on current bracket and my power rating: Ohio State 30%, Georgia 18% as the number 2 seed, Oregon as the 1 seed 11%, Alabama as the number 11 seed with a 9% chance. Those are your top 4 title favorites. Yes, it's going to be all about how the bracket shakes out. It's quite possible the 5 seed could be in an advantageous position relative to some other ones that are better than them, or higher than them, I should say. And it's going to be really fascinating to see how it all goes. Guys, right now, though, we're not accounting for any upsets in a conference championship game. I think that's something to keep an eye on. And of course, we won't know until the last week of the year with the conference championship. If a lower seeded or a lower ranked team wins in that conference championship game, they might either steal that at-large or that AQ, or they will bump the team that was going to be in there down, and that's going to shift everything all around. So something to keep an eye on come, the first weekend of December.
Kelley, great stuff as always, man. Appreciate your time. We'll talk to you next week, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. He's the best. Hope your head doesn't hurt. You need some ibuprofen? You good?
And he talks 100 miles an hour.
He's so
hard
good.
to keep up.
He's great.
He's great.
Daily Wires, we're getting you updated on what's going on in the sports world next. on what's going on in the sports world. We call them the Daily Wires. It's the headlines. It's what's happening. It's the latest buzz sports-wise. We know we just exited a presidential election, but this is a sports show. We're giving you the sports headlines of what's happening around the sports world. If you've had your head buried in the election, it's good because now you can kind of breathe a little bit and get out of that. And here's what's going on in sports. Interesting night in college basketball. Looking down the slate, not a ton of games that interest you yet. You have like the Virginias of the world playing the Campbells of the world right now. Still early in the year, Diesel, kind of feeling out your App State Mountaineers tonight at home versus St. Andrews. How good are you on the mascot, or you can guess St. Andrews mascot?
St. Andrews, are they the Peacocks?
I think they're the Knights.
The Knights.
I've never heard of St. Andrews, by the way.
Neither have I. It sounds more like a high school in the upstate.
And looking at top 25 games, there are top 25 teams in action, but there's no big games, there's no big matchups that I can see on here. Again, a lot of big schools are still playing the smaller schools, feeling them out, trying to get a grip. You got to play those.
I've never heard of that school before.
Well, that's what it is.
So they can win by 80 and say we learned something.
Like, for example,
I don't understand what the point is of even playing those games. What are you learning about your team when you beat up on somebody by 50
Well,
points?
I think you pay them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
you
pay them
some
to
money.
take a beat.
UConn playing Sacred Heart. I've heard of Sacred Heart. I know they've had some success in basketball. I just don't know where they are or what their mascot is.
Sacred Heart was the name of the hospital on Scrubs. That's the only Sacred Heart I've ever heard of.
I've heard of Sacred Heart, but let's see. They're in Connecticut.
Really?
They're in Connecticut. Yep. They are the
surgeons. The Sacred Heart surgeons.
Really?
Are they?
Oh, no. I thought you were being serious. I was like, oh, my God. What in the world?
The Dr. Coxes.
What kind of? They are the Pioneers.
Oh.
Pioneers. So there's your college basketball tonight. Not the best night. Also in the Daily Wires, the Upset Picks Challenge. It is open. You can get your upset pick in now. We're calling for you. We need it big time. 71307, keyword fan. We need your name, the game, and the amount of points, which is the spread. You're picking a game, or you're picking a team, rather, to upset another team. For example, if Florida is the underdog, you're not taking them to win the spread or beat the spread. You're picking them to win the game outright. So if you have not participated in the challenge yet, we'd love for you to enter. It's the Upset Picks Challenge, brought to you by Ingles Markets. Last night in college football, Bowling Green defeated Central Michigan 23-13. Miami of Ohio defeated Ball State 27-21. Didn't watch any college football or the playoffs last night, obviously, due to the election, Diesel, but I will be interested tonight. We've got some football on a Wednesday night.
It's Maction, right?
I believe so. Let me check. Maction.
Because Tuesday nights are for Conference USA. Wednesdays are for Maction, right?
I think you're right. Ohio State. Yes, tonight. Ohio State, Kent State, a riveting 0-8. Kent
Ohio.
State.
Ohio.
What'd I say?
Ohio State.
Yeah, not Ohio State.
The Ohio Bobcats.
They're not. Ohio State's not playing tonight. I'm sorry. I'm running on like no sleep. Ohio,
the Buckeye fan base would riot if they had to play on a weeknight like that. Come on.
Ohio, the Bobcats.
I'd say, oh, hell no.
That's right. At 0-8 Kent State. I don't know how good of a game that'll be. Ohio's favored by 20.5 points. Northern Illinois tonight at Western Michigan. That one could be a good one. A 4-4 Northern Illinois, 5-3 Western Michigan. Diesel NIU's the road favorite by 2.5, so they're expecting a close one. Hey, let's get a little college football on your palate tonight, right? Just it's been crazy with the election. Kind of decompress with some college football.
Oh, it's nice, right?
NIU, Western Michigan.
We know what's going to happen with this country for the next 4 years. Nothing weird's going to go wrong. Everything's going to be fine. Now we can all just get back to watching football.
Get back to sports,
right?
Back to sports. All right. What else on the Daily Wires? The NFL trade deadline, it was yesterday. It's passed. It's gone. In case you missed it, the Carolina Panthers, they sent Jonathan Mingo to Dallas. A decent trade for the Panthers. I don't think it really was of much value for the Cowboys.
You might get something out of this trade. You might get something out of a fourth-round pick.
Might.
I mean,
better than what you had, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's obviously the hope, is that you get something out of this guy, whoever he may be, Cole. But like as I our guest the other day told us that the Carolina Panthers are going to be looking to bundle some of these picks and maybe move up a little bit. So maybe they could bundle. It was David Newton, by the way. They could bundle a 4th and a 5th and move up into the 3rd or move up into the 2nd.
Let's see. Dan Morgan, speaking of the Panthers, he shot down speculation about a possible move of Bryce Young. He was asked why the team hasn't committed to Young moving forward, saying those are obviously discussions between Dave and I and Brant Tillis, just kind of talking through the direction we want to go. Hey, we're looking for him to grow and develop every week, get better every single week, and Dave has a plan for him. Dave has a plan for all the guys on this roster. They might not be on the roster. That might be their plan. But I think, look, I know they're in Germany this week. Then they come back home, I believe, and have the Kansas City Chiefs, I think.
Yeah.
You've got to make a decision. You've got to figure out what you're going to do because, it's going to be a tough road ahead. But we'll see. Diesel Ashlyn Watkins is back with South Carolina women's basketball. A team spokeswoman confirmed today that Watkins' indefinite suspension from team activities has been lifted after the resolution of her case stemming from an August 31st arrest on first-degree assault and battery and kidnapping at an on-campus student housing complex. So good that it's kind of settled, I guess, right?
Yeah,
it's interesting.
The Gamecocks are going to need her, right? She's a big piece, and the Lady Gamecocks, obviously didn't come out and light the scoreboard on fire against Michigan in their season opener. I understand it's a season opener, and it takes some time to work through some of the kinks and issues. Because we were told all offseason that this South Carolina women's basketball team might even be better than what they had last year. So getting big pieces back like that is going to be crucial for them.
I'll tell you this. Better than last year? That's going to be tough.
It feels like hyperbole to say it. You could still be the best team in college basketball, but not be as good as you were last year. I mean,
they went undefeated.
That's one of the great discussions is to say, oh, the 2022 team would have beat the 19 team or vice versa, whatever it may be.
I think they'll take a little bit of a step back. I don't think it'll be a big step back, but they're not going undefeated.
They'll lose one game this year?
They'll take a major step back and lose a game, which would be incredible.
Who do they think that fired on?
Also, Cleveland Browns GM Andrew Berry says it's possible Deshaun Watson will play for the team again after a season-ending injury. Yeah, I don't believe that. I
don't think it sounds good when somebody says it's possible that he'll play for this team again. That to me says unlikely.
Possible. It's not. Possible.
It's possible that we made a terrible decision guaranteeing him all that money.
That's right. USC's making a change at quarterback. In case you missed it yesterday, Miller Moss, he's out. That is big news. Miller Moss not the quarterback anymore. Jaden Mayava, head coach Lincoln Riley confirmed on Tuesday. That's who will start over Miller Moss. And then lastly, the Washington Commanders, Diesel, this team's good. They got better yesterday. They got a lot better. They solidified their secondary, trading for New Orleans Saints cornerback Marshawn Lattimore. I was in the Saints locker room Sunday after that loss, and Marshawn Lattimore and Chase Young were kind of sitting next to each other, kind of getting dressed. And those two especially were very visibly upset. Chase Young, former Commander, played at Ohio State. Those two were not happy. You could tell. Chase Young, in fact, couple of media members from New Orleans went up to him and asked him for an interview. He was so upset he declined it and walked out. So those two were upset, and now Marshawn Lattimore on his way out of New Orleans, which is good for him. He's going to Washington. I mean, you woke up one day and you're being traded. So
why are you interviewing me? I'm not even going to be on this team in 2 days. When we come back, Cole, it is time for you and I to fight it out as we do each and every Wednesday. We bring back an oldie and a goldie, the 5 o'clock fight. Coming your way next on the Fan Upstates.
Going wire to wire
With Diesel and Cole Bryson.
on the Fan.
All right, we're hot.
Upstate.
Still taking your upset picks at 307. Start your text with keyword fan. Text us your name, your game, and the spread. Who do you think is going to hit the big upset this weekend? Cole, we've had quite a few of our Tolos come in with the same picks. Wake Forest over Cal is a real popular one. But what do you want? 71307 give us your name, your game, and the spread. Just be sure to start your text with keyword fan to make sure that we see it. And we have you do that. I always like to explain things. The reason we do that is because we share a text line with our sister station, WORD. And if you start your text with keyword fan, we have it set up to filter down to a special inbox where we see all those messages, not mixed in with all the political text messages that come in into that station. Reed Atkins gets in and says he'll take Oklahoma State plus 10.5 to beat TCU. Very good, Reed Atkins. Appreciate you getting that in. So he's figured out the name, game, and spread process that we want from him. So, guys, we do this each and every Wednesday when we're on location. We love bringing on Melissa Level from Ingalls, but she's not with us today. So it's just going to be you and I, Cole, fighting it out the way that it used to be, going head-to-head in the 5 o'clock fight. Let's get started.
Maybe. Maybe. Ben,
can you fire the intro for us? Did we lose him?
There it is, an all-out slugfest, and nobody's leaving unscathed. 3 topics, 1 winner. It's the 5 o'clock fight on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
So those of you who haven't been with us for a while, here's how the 5 o'clock works. The 5 o'clock fight works. We have 3 different topics. Sometimes sports, sometimes not. Cole and I fight it out, and we have to disagree. You, the Tolos, decide basically who put forth the better argument, who's right and who's wrong. 3 topics. Need your input. Here we go with round number 1.
Round 1, fight.
Cole, let's say you're at a game or a concert, and you've got your seats. You're feeling good, and you look down and to the left, and you see a little pocket of seats over there being not used.
Yeah.
So you keep an eye on it for a little while. If you see seats that are better than yours unused, do you move to fill them, or do you stay where you are, where your ticket says you should be?
I used to move, but I learned my lesson, and I don't anymore. I'll stay. I'll just buy the better ticket to begin with. I was at a Texas Rangers game, and I did that. Well, here's the problem. It was like 7 of us. Okay, it was a big group of friends when I lived in Texas, and 7 of us. We were up pretty high at the Rangers game, and they sucked then. It was the year before they won the championship, so we moved down to like the literal bottom row, and it was 7 of us, so it's kind of hard to be non-street. Yeah. Needless to say, we got kind of told to go back. So after that, I've said, you know what? I'll just purchase the better ones to begin with. So no, to answer your question. In terms of moving down.
Cole, I love moving down to take better seats. Look, I mean, if somebody either didn't buy them, I don't know why those seats are empty. Somebody didn't buy them or they didn't show up. I'll watch it for a little while and make sure. But, Cole, I'm moving down to take the seats, man. Like, it's almost disrespectful to the team or disrespectful to the band to not go fill those seats. For example, country that concert for Carolina, Cole, we were second row from the top. We were up there in Bank of America Stadium, section 518, holler. We look down, Cole, and we see the lower part of the upper bowl, and there were seats that were sitting empty for the entire show. I was like, Ashley, we got to move down there. We got to move down.
Take your shot. Shoot your shot.
So much better. And like, what's going to happen? Somebody's going to tell you to move. Okay, fine. I'll go back to the seats that I paid for. You always move down to take the better seats. That's what I say. Okay, there you go. Round 1.
I don't like getting embarrassed though. Like,
is it embarrassing?
To me, it is.
Really?
when you have to stand up, like if somebody comes and there's somebody else's seats, I don't like the whole like shame walk, the walk of shame.
Like, this isn't where I park my car.
Yeah, like, sorry, these aren't your tickets. That's so embarrassing for me. So that's
why you got to watch them for a while. Here we go with round number 2. Cole, you put this one on there. This is, I guess, best dessert.
Yeah. So I had a little cheat little cheat meal. I shouldn't have had this, but I did before we went on the air. I had a fantastic donut from Ingles Markets, from the bakery.
Really good.
They have good
Are they
donuts,
still
man.
here? Oh,
yeah,
they're
they're
still
there.
here.
They haven't ate one. There's three
still
left,
here.
right?
Yeah, you told those. Not only we're going to give you a chance to win a $25 Ingles gift card,
yeah,
but we also have donuts.
So Ingles has fantastic donuts. I ate one before the show. I shouldn't have, but I did.
I could probably eat a second one.
I needed all the sugar I could get. I got like hardly any sleep. I've had 2 Red Bulls, a donut, and now I'm working on a Coke. I'm trying to stay awake right now. I am trying my best. We'll see if I can make it till 7. So as I was eating it, I was also looking at the other desserts in the bakery, right? So the question is, superior dessert, the donut or the field, which includes
what's available here at the Ingles Bakery.
Yeah, I mean, and they have a huge selection. So you got your cookies, you got your brownies, you got your muffins, right? But you also have the homemade apple fritters that Ingles has here.
Yeah.
You've got some red velvet cakes. Cupcakes. There's so much. I mean, literally so much in the Ingles Bakery. So, like, I love donuts. Donuts are really, really, they're top of the line, but all those other ones are good as well. So when you say donuts versus the field, I know the field's large. There are a lot of other good donuts or a lot of other good desserts, but guess what? The only correct answer is, and the only correct answer today, because I may change my mind tomorrow, today's donut. It's a donut. It's donut day. And look,
I did have a donut yesterday as a freebie because I was wearing my I vetoed sticker, and it was delicious. Yeah. It was delicious. But I'm going to tell you, Cole, if it's right here at the Ingles Markets Bakery, the answer is the apple fritter. The apple. Oh man!
So you're going the field?
Yeah. Well, I'm going the field. So yeah, I'll go with the field. But I mean, I'll give you a specific.
We're splitting
answer.
hairs, though.
Apple fritter.
We're splitting hairs.
Yeah, it's hard to decide. But man, that apple fritter is fresh. It changed me when I was walking through an Ingles Market store. It might have even been this store. I can't remember where they were making the apple fritters fresh in front of my face.
Oh,
and like they were over there chopping the apples down. They were coating them with the cinnamon, doing all the things they do. Oh man, it's so good. And like, we could even have the discussion: apple pie or the field, and I'm gonna say apple pie.
Really?
And by extension, apple fritters. So the answer is apple fritters.
It's just hard to beat a donut, man. It's just hard to beat a good donut. And Ingles has the best. They're so good. We talk a lot about other donuts, right? But Ingles donuts are hard. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how. I want to go see how donuts are made. I want to because
you can go to there's a certain restaurant that makes them in front of your face.
Well, the reason I want to see it is I'd like to try it. Is it hard?
You want to try to make them?
Yeah, at home.
Oh no, you can make them.
You can?
Yeah, my wife makes bagels sometimes. She makes donuts every now and
again. But what is
a
donut made of, though?
Dough.
So you're just dropping the dough and the nuts in the oil. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that
drop your dough.
I'm sorry that came out the way it did. Oh, let me stop. Anyways,
there you go.
Sorry.
That's round 2 of the 5 o'clock fight. Let's go one more.
Final round. Fight.
Cole, will an ACC team receive a first-round bye?
Oh, my gosh.
In the college football playoff. Will an ACC team get a first-round bye? As of right now, Cole, if we scroll all the way back up to the projected CFP field, this is the bracket. They have Miami in as the 3 seed, 4th overall seed, but the 3 seed in the bracket.
Because what? One gets a bye? Is that why?
Yeah, so 1 through 4, the 4 highest ranked conference champions get a first round bye.
Yeah, I got you.
And Miami is currently sitting as the 3 seed, which means they're not far from the bubble of being knocked out of the first round bye.
Miami's schedule's trash. So the answer is yeah. I mean, sadly, they are. And, did they get the respect they deserve? I guess they do, because they were ranked higher last night than I projected them to be. So, yeah, I think they do. I think Miami is the ACC school that gets a first-round bye, Diesel, because they don't play anybody. I don't really believe in their defense. I think their defense will be exposed in the playoffs. Sorry, Madcraft, I really do. But I think when the way their schedule sets up, you got to feel like they're going to run the table.
So they've got on the road. I'm going to say no to that question. On the road at Georgia Tech this weekend. Georgia Tech can be tough, right? And they got a bye week. Wake Forest at home, on the road at Syracuse. Wake Forest, I think, is a sneaky, decent team. Syracuse, 6-2. If you're asking me, is Miami going to run the table and on top of that win the ACC championship game? The way that Miami's been playing, Cole, giving up a lot of points to some teams. I'm looking back at the Louisville game where they gave up 45 points. They gave up 38 points to Cal. They gave up 34 points to Virginia Tech. It's not sustainable. It's been sustainable thus far in the several times. And they gave up 31 points to Duke, right? Miami can outscore just about anyone. The question is, when you've got a team they can't stop on defense, can they do it throughout the entire season? And I'm going to say the answer to that question is no. So there you go. That is the 5 o'clock fight. To recap what we talked about today on the 5 o'clock fight, what we fought about. Round one, is it better? Hang on, Ben. Is it better if you have seats better than yours that open up down below you? Do you move to fill them, or do you stay where you are? Cole stays where he is. I move down to fill them. Donuts or the field, as in items that are for sale at the Ingalls Markets Bakery. Cole's going donuts.
Yeah, you got to.
I'm going the field. Round three, will an ACC team get a first round bye? Cole says, yeah, because Miami doesn't play anybody, and they're just going to run the table. I say not a chance. They're going to stumble at some point. So there you go. That is the 5 o'clock fight. Who wins each round? Text us, 71307.
What do you want, Diesel and Cole?
If you've got an ass, I'll kick it.
Submit your topics to Diesel at thefanupstate.com. Subject line fight on the Fan Upstate.
Diesel, real quick. By the way, donuts are made by mixing ingredients, kneading the dough. Shut up. Cutting. I'm just reading off of Google.
They mix ingredients?
I'm reading off of Google here.
Say.
Cutting the dough into rounds, molding the rounds into donuts, and then frying them. So you use flour, sugar, eggs, milk, baking powder, and yeast. What does it mean to knead the dough? Is that like where you roll it flat?
Where you squeeze it, you love it, you caress it. Texters here are getting in, telling us all 4 conference champions get a bye. That is incorrect, Texter. That is incorrect. The 4 highest ranked conference champions get a bye. 4 highest ranked. So there's a possibility that BYU could steal that spot. There's a possibility that Boise State could steal that spot away. So you are patently incorrect, Texter. You don't know what you're talking about. There is a chance that somebody could jump them.
I just wonder, though,
Boise State.
And I guess since we haven't seen this play out yet, I just wonder if that'll ever happen, right? Like if they'll ever look at a Boise State as a higher seed than a Miami who won the ACC.
Well, if Boise State had beaten Oregon, I'd say there's a much, much higher chance of that happening. I understand that Boise State has played a relatively weak schedule since acquitting themselves very well against Oregon. But had they won that, I think we're in the conversation, right?
Yeah.
I think we're there. I mean, if you go back to the rankings here for the CFP, the very first ones, Boise State is sitting at 12th, Cole. I get that I'm asking for something big for Boise State to run the table and Miami to lose one and somehow have Boise State jump them, but there is a chance.
A really important question. Markello Ducks on the YouTube stream says, what's the best kind of donut? I say plain, original, glazed. I'm a plain kind of guy. Original.
Custard filled.
Ew.
Custard filled, yeah.
Ew, God, really?
Yeah. Custard filled's the way to go.
I don't know if I would like that or not. I'm a plain Jane
But
guy.
you've never tried it.
Well, I tell you what, I don't know if I have tried custard, and custard's kind of weird to me. I don't know really how I feel about it. So you're right. I'll try it. I'll try anything once, right? Let's see. On the stream, Wesley Roberts says clean sweep for Diesel today. Yeah. Sorry, Cole. That's not good. And by the way, Jonathan Brooks on Facebook, make sure you text in your upset pick to the text line 71307. It only counts if it's on the text line or on the phone line, 844-FAN phone. Markello Ducks also agrees with Wesley. Diesel for the sweep. The stream's not liking me today. Jonathan says 3 L's, clean sweep for Diesel. Nice. I don't know what I did to the stream today, but I evidently ticked them off.
Well, Corn Chip has got your back. Corn Chip on the text line says, Cole with that sweep, but I'm going to need that drop in the dough and nuts promo.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's got to be a promo. There's no doubt.
Reed Atkins says, I think Cole wins 2-1. I thought Diesel would surely dominate, but Cole had the better performance. See, that's all.
Thank you, Reed. Thank you, Reed.
Let's see here. Texter says it's a tie because the last question is invalid because whoever wins the ACC gets a first-round bye regardless. That is incorrect. Whoever this texter is, because they don't sign their text, so I don't know who you are, says, yeah, sure, whatever you say, ACC, Big 10, SEC, and Big 12 champs get the top 4 seeds.
Hey, we got Kevin Parks on the line.
That's
JD, I'm pretty sure.
They might get the top 4 seeds, but that is not the rule. It may be in practice what happens more years than not, but that is not the rule. So I'm arguing that Miami loses a game and then falls back far enough to potentially get jumped by a Boise State.
Am I that tired and sleep deprived that I just read Bonefish Grill on the text line? It does say for the record, it does say Bonefish Girl.
It does say Bonefish Girl.
For the past 3 minutes, I legitimately thought something about Bonefish Grill was now maybe that this girl works at, I don't know if there's a correlation there. Is Bonefish Grill even open anymore?
Is there one in the upstate anymore?
No, that's a good question.
Is there one there? Okay.
She got her upset pick in, by the way. I think that's her first time, Bonefish Girl. I hadn't heard that name before. So.
I believe she has. I believe she has.
Okay, good job getting your upset picks in. AJ803 also gets his in. Let's go to the phones. 844-FAN phone, 844-326-3663. I believe we have Big Kev on the line. What's up, Kev?
What's up, fellas?
How are
What's
you,
up, Kev?
Man, I'm doing all right, man. Hey, man, listen,
Long time.
we're leaving custard pie where it's at, man. We're not mixing nothing with it. We leaving custard pie where it is.
Custard pie.
What is that?
I've never had custard pie. I said custard in a donut. Custard filled.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, I'm from the bushes. Custard pie is the same thing as sweet potato pie. My grandma and them just called it custard pie.
Oh,
custard pie. I'm Googling.
Yeah.
So you're saying sweet potato pie?
Sweet potato pie, custard pie,
That's not
same
the
I love
same
sweet
thing,
potato
Kev.
pie, though.
It's not the same thing. I'm looking
Well,
at
it's
it.
not.
Because that's not what
color
custard is.
Custard, no shot.
Custard is the little whatever they sell at the frozen custard place now.
Custard is sweetened condensed milk, cheese, egg yolk.
Ugh, God, that's gross.
No, that's bad then. Well, I don't know what my grandma was calling it then. Listen, I grew up on sweet potato pie, called it custard pie all my life.
Did you really?
So I did. Now, what you just talked about, I've heard that called chest pie. Have you ever heard chest pie?
Chest like
pie.
CHEST?
That's what I'm guessing. I was
never
at a Thanksgiving with some buddies some years back, and it was just sugar, egg yolk, and something else. And I was like, you are the nastiest human being ever in life. Like, I've never understood that a day in my life.
Kevin, you have some homework this weekend, and I want you to call us back and let us know how it goes. I want you to go to a donut shop, and I want you to get a custard-filled donut.
Do they have them here?
And try it out. Try it out for me. Call me back and tell me how it is. And if you don't like it, I promise you, Kevin, I will buy you a donut of your choice anytime you want.
And Kev, for the record, I did Google it. Google says sweet potato pie is a type of custard pie.
Okay, cool. You had me out there, had me feel like I need to go holler at Granny real quick.
Look, I apologize.
Hey, Kevin, you never tell Granny she's wrong.
That's right.
I wasn't. I was just going to go talk about it and just see what happened.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
You have your upset pick?
I'm taking who we got? Give me something. Give me three of them.
All right, I'll give you the one I took. I took Michigan over who did I take?
Indiana.
Michigan over Indiana. Indiana's 9-0.
Mm-hmm.
You also have Diesel's selection, which was
my selection. I got to find it here on the list here. Was Arkansas State plus 16.5 over Louisiana.
And then I'll also give you a few more. You got like Cal at Wake. Cal's favored by 7. You have
Virginia Tech plus 6.5 over Clemson.
Ooh, that is it 6.5?
6.5 points.
Holy crap. And then I'll give you one more. Miami, Georgia Tech. Miami's favored by 11. And let's see. Let me give you one more. Actually, I lied to you. Let's give you one more good one here to choose from.
A lot of people taking Middle Tennessee State.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah,
plus 11 at Liberty, because Liberty's lost 2 in a row.
Give me Wake over Cal.
Okay, Wake over Cal. That is.
Give me Virginia Tech over the Daboettes.
No, you only get one.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay,
you want Wake or you want Virginia Tech?
Just for the giggles, give me Virginia Tech over to that boy.
I love it.
And that's 7.5. Is that right? Oh my word,
that's a big one.
Yeah.
Kevin, have you ever been in this challenge before? Are you in this challenge right now?
When y'all first started, I think I had one in them.
You did.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll put you in as Kevin. I'll put you in as Big Kevin. And if you want to call us back next week, just remember Big Kevin.
Kev, good to hear from you, man.
Where you at this Friday?
This Friday, it's a good question. Glad you asked. Burns is off. I'm going to Spartanburg Gaffney on Friday night.
Yeah, that's right.
Are you
that's
going?
Right. Last week it got a little rainy, then I got lazy. So
do you have a game Friday?
I listened to that whole thing. No, I got lazy once it got to raining and looked kind of dreary.
Yeah.
So I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna chill out and listen to these boys
do
a
interest.
little thing. And since I'm talking about it, since you did it,
yeah.
Hey man, big ups to Zylander, man, because he could have let that thing get him down with the fumbles and some of the turnovers, but he turned around and laced that thing up in the fourth quarter, man.
He did a good game, man. Bowling Springs Burns, by the way. So, Kev, you're not going to Spartanburg Gaffney? Big game, probably the biggest in the state.
Yeah, I'm rolling. I have not been to a Gaffney game since we were sitting up there the last time we went when they played great.
That's right.
So
that's right. I appreciate the call, Kev. I'll see you there. I'll see you there.
All right.
Appreciate the call. 844-FAN phone, 844-326-3663. That's the way you can get in touch with the show. Are we slacking right now before we run to a break on the upset picks? Are we a little behind, Diesel?
We're a little behind. We got 40 upset picks in. We normally average around 60 on a Wednesday, on the first day of the upset picks challenge. So we got about 20 total. It's not us, Cole. It's them. We got about 20 Tolos who are slacking, who have not given us their upset picks yet.
So 20 or so behind.
Yeah, about 20 behind. So Tolos, you got a game that you think is going to end in an upset. You can go to ESPN.com, find the list of spreads, find a game where you think the underdog will win the game outright, and then text us at 71307. Start your text with keyword FAN, and then give us your name, your game, and the spread. For example, Shane W. jumped in and said, Oklahoma State plus 11 to beat TCU. That's the criteria. That's what we need from you. Your name, your game, and the spread.
That's interesting. And by the way, Texter says, Coach AJ, Bonefish Girl is my wife. She does work there. There's one on Woodruff Road in front of Hobby Lobby. Well, we appreciate that. Appreciate the clarification.
I don't go that way anymore.
Wait, Woodruff Road? Is that not near us?
Near the station. It's down the street.
Where's the Bonefish Girl?
Take a left on Garlington on Woodruff Road.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been to Bonefish Grill. I know we're giving them a lot.
They have really good bang bang shrimp.
Bang bang.
Bang bang shrimp.
I like bang bang shrimp.
I just like saying bang bang shrimp.
I like shrimp, any kind of shrimp. Fried shrimp, boiled shrimp,
broiled shrimp, shrimp burger, shrimp stew. We're not doing this. We're not doing this.
We got to run. We got to run. Our producer's fussing at us. Let's go to break. We will look at the games that in the NFL this weekend are of most importance. Also, post-trade deadline in the NFL, which teams, in our opinion and in your opinion, are set up best to make one final push to the Super Bowl? We'll get into that next. 5:42, 5:43-ish with SEC Unfiltered. Chris Phillips coming up in about 15 minutes from now. Stay tuned for that, and we'll rehash upset picks at 6 o'clock. Get back into the rankings that were revealed last night. If you just tuned in or missed that in the very first segment, we'll get back into that at 6 o'clock. He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson. We are live at Ingalls in the big city of Liberty, 429 East Main Street in Liberty. That's where we are. We're here until 7 p.m. Want to quickly give the third clue. Diesel gave many people love blending this item with joy. Clue number 2 was the main ingredient in a healthy milk. Clue number 3 for our number 3 is this item tops the best dishes, either chopped or whole. But you got to know this, right? You think?
You'd think.
So if you can guess it, you can enter in for a chance to win a $25 gift card here at Ingalls in Liberty for those working or living over here in Liberty. It's dark outside, man. This sucks. Let's just call it like it is.
Fan.
It's not fun.
It's
not already dark.
By the time you get home, Cole, back up to Boiling Springs, it's going to be time to go back to work tomorrow.
It'll be daylight. It'll be daylight by the time I get home. I need a helicopter. If anybody out there has one.
There was one circling over Liberty when I pulled through.
Was there?
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe
what
it was mine.
Going on.
It was just a little early.
You have a chopper now?
I wish.
Cool.
I wish. Let's get into the NFL, Diesel. After the trade deadline, which teams in our mind are really best suited to make a run? Look, I'll start with the obvious here. Monday night, I watched the Chiefs with their added addition in DeAndre Hopkins and what they did on Monday Night Football against the Buccaneers. It was a really good game. Went to overtime. I like what they did in not free agency. I like what they did in adding DeAndre Hopkins. That was in my opinion, that was a huge, huge get. It's a guy who's a veteran. Yeah, he's a little older, but with Rashee Rice, the injury that he suffered, you got to have somebody that's, a number one receiver. And, starting with the obvious, this is why I have so many frustrations with Dallas. It seems like Diesel, Kansas City's just a juggernaut, and you've got the best quarterback in the league. You add DeAndre Hopkins. Tell me how this team isn't favored to be right back where they always seem to be.
Yeah, I don't know that anybody really can. I mean, nobody has the amount of depth and the quarterback that they have, right?
Yeah.
There's some teams that come relatively close. You could say the Baltimore Ravens, but I mean, we've seen how many times have the Ravens fallen short in the playoffs?
Yes.
I mean, Lamar's great, but Lamar is not Patrick Mahomes.
He's not.
And the Ravens roster is great, but they don't have what the Kansas City Chiefs have. I mean, the Chiefs, somebody one day, Cole, is going to be writing thesis papers about what the GM of the Kansas City Chiefs pulled off for about a decade, about how they were able to achieve what they were able to achieve with having the best of the best at every position, keeping as many guys around as long as possible. I mean, it's truly incredible what the Chiefs have accomplished.
It is. It's really incredible. And again, I'll tell you what's scary about this team this year. They're not playing their best football right now. Patrick Mahomes isn't playing his best football. He's been interception happy a little bit this season. And by the way, they're undefeated. And they're not playing their best. But that's what's scary.
Well, at the risk of sounding like Rob Brown, they also get a lot of help from the refs.
You think so?
No, there's just some texter every time I mention that.
Okay, gotcha.
He's like, what are you saying? Rob Brown says the same things. No, I mean, look, every team gets the benefit of a few calls every now and again. Does Patrick Mahomes get roughing the passer calls a lot more because he's Patrick Mahomes? Yeah, probably. But then again, LeBron gets those calls.
Yeah.
Jordan got those calls.
It's
Magic
part of
got
being,
those calls.
Yeah. You're the best on the planet. And there's really no debating that. So, again, that's the easy one. That's the obvious one. They're set up. They added Nuke. That's going to be tough to stop. He made a catch the other night in the first half of that football game. And for those that watched it, you know what I'm talking about. He was in triple coverage. And it was a deep ball. And somehow, some way, Nuke caught that football. And I don't know how he did, but it was just a heck of a catch And that's a big addition. Now, on the other side, in the national or in the NFC, let's go to the NFC East, Diesel. The Washington Commanders, they were already good, right? However, we mentioned it a few minutes ago. They got cornerback Marshawn Lattimore, a very experienced defensive back in the National Football League. And it seems as if over in the National League, this team in the NFC East and the Commanders got better defensively. They already have a really good quarterback in Jaden Daniels, who is having a fantastic rookie season. I think this team, this is wild to say, but is this team already in win-now mode with a rookie quarterback, first-year head coach? Usually it takes some years. Usually, you smell that? What's up? Is this place burning down? It smells like.
Are you having an aneurysm?
No, I don't think
anything.
so. You smell that? Oh, maybe I'm the only person.
Yeah, I think you're having. I think you've got some bleeding in your brain right now.
I hope not. It smells like the place is on fire. There's my ADHD.
Oh, I smell it.
You smell it now?
I smell it.
Okay, good.
Is everything okay?
I was just make sure the building's still here. But I just we talk about it all the time, Diesel. It usually takes time, right? Mm. I mean, think about it. You have new ownership. You have a new general manager, a new head coach, a new quarterback.
Yeah.
And you're in win now. When does that ever happen? I mean, that's so fascinating. And you know what? They probably can do it now while their quarterback doesn't have a big contract. So might as well try to go all out right now to win early.
And the wild thing about what the Commanders have accomplished this year, Cole, they lost by 7 to the Ravens on the road. That's not a big shocker, right? I mean, a lot of teams lose big at Baltimore.
Yeah.
But their only other loss this season was Jaden Daniels' rookie debut against the Buccaneers, another team that
not bad.
Has things kind of figured out. I'm not saying the Bucs are fantastic, but they kind of have things figured out. It's gonna be tougher down the stretch, though, Cole. I think they kind of knocked out a lot of their easier opponents early, because then they face the Steelers, Eagles. They have a bye week.
Shut up! Shut up!
They face the Cowboys on November 24th.
Not wrong though.
You're right. The Titans easy game, Saints easy game, and then Eagles, Falcons, who have come on lately, and then of course another bye week to close out the season when they go on the road at Dallas. So, I mean, I feel like there's a pretty good chance this team does no worse than losing 2 more games down the stretch.
They got a chance, man.
I mean, could you imagine going 13-4 in your rookie season in the NFL with a brand new head coach?
It's just crazy.
That's absurd.
I just don't know that, if that continued to play out with all of the newness that they have, I don't know that that's ever happened.
It's another one of those stories, Cole, that starts to erode all of the excuses of, well, you got to give somebody, you got to give a rookie quarterback 4 years to figure it out. Yeah. You got to give a rookie head coach 5 years to figure it out.
Crazy, man.
All those things start to come down. And, look, the truth is, you still do need to give rookie quarterbacks 3 years and rookie head coaches 3 years to figure it out. But as more of these guys come out of college ready to play and win, it kind of does erode some of those excuses.
Just hand him the keys, right?
Yeah.
And let him
give
roll.
Him whatever he wants.
I mean, it's big time. Let's see. Mike Williams did get traded. I don't know how much good football, not to be, critical of Mike Williams, but I don't know how much good football he has left. He did get traded to the Steelers. We'll see. I could be wrong there. They also got the Packers' Preston Smith. I did like the Cam Akers trade. Houston sent Cam Akers to the Vikings. I think the Vikings have overperformed this year, and I know we got to run to a break, so we'll kind of end there with the Minnesota Vikings. But they're a team that, they're not supposed – their quarterback, their future got hurt before the season even started. And J.J. McCarthy and Diesel are 6-2. That's not supposed to happen, right? We talk about Washington J.J. McCarthy goes down, and look what they've done. And
hey, being 6-2 with your presumptive backup,
God, you'll take
it. You'll take it
all
absolutely.
Day long.
This next guest is not a backup on anybody's charts. He is a starter from game number 1. We go to the phone lines next. Talk to Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered on the Fan Upstate.
your court. Sound off now at 844-FAN-PHONE.
This is Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
Time to talk SEC football with Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered, a phenomenal guest that we love bringing on each and every week. Chris, you're on the road this weekend with your SEC tour. Headed to the Grove to do some tailgating, headed to Vaught Hemingway Stadium. How confident are you in your chances to witness another field storming, because you have been a nexus of field stormings all year?
Yeah, Diesel, Cole, I appreciate you having me on. Yeah, I feel pretty good. I mean, honestly, I liked what I saw from Ole Miss last week. I know it was against an Arkansas team that's really inconsistent up and down, but it looked a lot more like the offense with Jackson Dart and company that we've been expecting. And saw Georgia obviously in person last weekend in Jacksonville, and it's I think if Carson Beck is turning the football over like he has been all season, I think Ole Miss at home's got a great shot. So I know that what scares me is we felt really similar to this going into the Texas game, where Georgia wasn't exactly playing great and Texas had a lot of hype and momentum, and we saw what the Dogs did, right? Kirby Smart, douse him at your own peril, but I definitely think it's a coin flip game, 50-50 shot. I think we're going to be in for a classic either way. And so I'm not necessarily pulling for one side or the other, but, I wouldn't mind another field storming or two in my future. So if it did come this weekend, I wouldn't be complaining about it. Should be a good time either way, though.
Yeah, and Chris, I kind of want to piggyback on Ole Miss. Like, what they did last week was fantastic, hanging 63, in Fayetteville. But tell me if I'm the only one in this camp. I mean, that's a great story. And it'd be a great story if Ole Miss continues to win, but you're already a two-loss team. You dropped the ball when you weren't supposed to earlier in the season. So what does all this really matter if you're on the fringe, the bubble of getting into the expanded playoff, when at the beginning of the season you kind of felt like you were supposed to be there?
I mean, to your point, Cole, I mean, I think one of the things Ole Miss fans this week have and I've thought about it too, you just keep thinking back to, like, man, if you just didn't lose to Kentucky, like if you just didn't have that inexcusable loss. And you know what makes it hurt worse, guys? We were talking about this earlier. What makes it hurt worse is, had Kentucky won that game and like done something with it, and they were, looked like they were going to be an 8-4, maybe 9-3 team, you say, you know what, it hurts, but that Kentucky team ended up being pretty good, right? Kind of like Alabama losing to Vandy. You're like, well, that Vandy team ended up being pretty good. But Kentucky's terrible. I mean, there's no excuse for it. So now you put yourself in a corner. This is do or die for Ole Miss guys. I mean, it really, truly comes down to, it's not an over-exaggeration. Whether Ole Miss's 2024 season is deemed a success or failure, it all hinges on what happens on Saturday.
Chris, a lot of South Carolina fans still hanging their hats on that gigantic road win that they had early in the season at Kentucky. Now, it certainly is painted in a different light when you compare that to what they did on the road at Oklahoma, what they did at home this past week against Texas A&M. One of the biggest hallmarks of this team all season has been the inconsistency. You'll have a fantastic offensive performance one week, and then you'll have 2 or 3 weeks where things kind of take a step back, and then you'll have an offensive explosion and things kind of take a step back. What have you heard out of Columbia as far as their plan to try to sustain? It doesn't even have to be excellent offense, but good offense, serviceable offense.
I think, Diesel, to your point, South Carolina, the thing they've been fighting for years for is consistency, right? Because to your point, you can lay a stinker like you did earlier in the year against Ole Miss, and then you can look like you did against Texas A&M. That was a phenomenal win. I mean, give Shane Beamer and company a lot of credit. That defense, that defensive front, that front seven is one of the best in the country. That offensive line performance was one that nobody saw coming, both running the football and protecting Lenora Sellers. Sellers continues to evolve and get better and better and more comfortable. Joshua Simon kind of had a breakout game, and Rocket Sanders proved why you fought so hard to give him the transfer portal. So, I think when you come to offensive consistency, Diesel, I think it's just continuing to put Lenora Sellers in comfortable spots. Listen, they give Shane Beamer and company credit. They typically play their best football in November. Like, they improve as the season goes. You've seen that every single year, and I think especially with a young quarterback, I think you're seeing him more so come into his own. I think Dabble Loggins has to continue to scheme it up and put him in good positions to be successful. I think they need to continue to run the football and stick with the run game, be stingy with the run game with Rocket Sanders. And, continuing to go to Josh Simon at tight end probably be a good idea too. It's a big boost for them. Also, they get Maz Bennett back going into the Vanderbilt game. He went down, obviously, in that A&M game, so a huge boost. But, I think that's what it comes down to. I think you would expect them to become more consistent in the month of November. And certainly with a young quarterback, though, you can have those ups and downs. But if he can limit the mistakes, limit the turnovers, they're going to have a great shot down the stretch to, obviously exceed all expectations, certainly beyond punching just bowl eligibility. And it starts, in Nashville this weekend, guys. It's a really intriguing game, really interesting game. I was there a few weeks ago and watched Vandy take Texas to the wire, and I'm a huge fan of Diego Pavia, and I had a great time in Nashville. Those Vandy folks were really, really good to me. So, and I know how bad they want this one because it's been 15 long years since they beat South Carolina. But at the end of the day, this is a game, guys. No matter how good or bad either side has been, South Carolina finds a way to win. So I sort of lean that way and expect the same thing to happen on Saturday.
Going back to Ole Miss, Georgia real quick, Chris. Let's say Ole Miss gets the win at home against Georgia. Is the jury out all of a sudden on Carson Beck?
Depending on how the game goes, I think certainly, Cole, I think the jury will be out. Yeah, depending on how the game goes. It's just one of those things, Cole, where at some point, and listen, I talked to somebody this week that, used to work on Georgia's staff and knows a thing or two about ball. And, he mentioned to me that, hey, listen, it's not all on Carson. Like, listen, it goes without saying, they are missing Ladd McConkey and Brock Bowers. They're missing Ra Thomas and Colby Young. Ra Thomas, who was kicked off the team early in the season. Colby Young, who's gone down, or also kicked off the team as well, I should say. They're missing those guys. Trevor Etienne has not been 100%. The offensive line hasn't been as good as they thought it would be. So, there's the tight ends aren't a big deal in the passing game. Oscar Delp and Urasek. So, there's other things outside of him where it's not all on him. But to your point, I've seen him make some throws, guys, this year in person that are just hard to explain. I'm like, I don't know what you're looking at, just throwing it into triple coverage. So certainly if he makes a couple of those mistakes, they lose. The jury will be out. But if you're Georgia, you can't bench him. I've seen some of that on social media. You can't bench him. You got to continue to ride out your guy. And but certainly, there's going to be a lot of chatter if they go into Oxford. He doesn't play well yet again.
Chris, there are 4 teams currently sitting in the college football playoff mock bracket out of the SEC. Can you give me one team that you think is most likely to play their way out of the 12-team playoff, and one team that's currently sitting on the bubble that you think has a real good shot to play their way in?
Yeah, I'll go with the low-hanging fruit, guys, and they play each other this weekend. I think the team that most likely plays their way out is Alabama because I think they lose to LSU this weekend, and the team I think that plays their way in is LSU because I think they beat Alabama. And if you look at what they've got down the stretch, they go to Florida, which a game that I thought could be an upset before the season, but it looks like Florida might be starting a third-string quarterback in Aiden Warner, right? So that game doesn't look as daunting. And then you got Vanderbilt, who obviously upstart team, but Vanderbilt at home, Oklahoma at home, LSU. So I don't want to say their season is a one-game season, but it kind of feels like it's a one-game season to a degree. So I'll go with, again, those two teams playing each other. I like LSU to beat Alabama this weekend. I think that Kalen DeBoer's Alabama going into LSU, going into Death Valley at night, I think it's going to be too much for them to overcome. I like Garrett Nussmeier and the Tigers to get the win. So, I'll go with those two teams that are playing each other. Alabama to play their way out, probably finish the season 9-3. LSU to get that win, finish 10-2, and find their way in the playoff.
So, Chris, if Alabama loses to LSU on Saturday, is Kalen DeBoer's first season a failure?
Failure might be a strong word. It is a disappointment because I think getting to the playoff. But I had a great conversation today with somebody that covers Alabama, and they mentioned the expectations for year one of Kalen DeBoer was either getting to the playoff or being right on the fringe, like that 9-3, 10-2-ish march. I don't know that I would call it an utter failure, but to your point, Cole, it feels like one with what Alabama is. You know what I mean? Like missing the playoff just feels outrageous for Alabama football. So maybe failure's too strong, but a major, major disappointment if they go 9-3. And they'll look back, guys. Give Vandy all the credit in the world, but they'll look back on that Vandy game and just think, man, what could have been?
Well, Chris, as opposed to that, Clemson missing the college football playoff is a failure when you've got the talent and the coaching staff that they've got. We're running out of time here. Chris, can you give us your upset pick and explain why?
Yeah, guys, I'm going to go outside of the SEC. And I think a few weeks ago you guys told me, hey, Chris, you don't have to stay in the conference. So I'm going to go outside the SEC. I'm going to go Duke +3 at NC State, winning that game straight up. Little rivalry game. I like what Duke has done with their program. I like their quarterback a lot. NC State, I'm just not – I'm not high on, a little skeptical on that. I'm going to step outside the SEC and take a swing with the Blue Devils at +3. By the way, guys, before I let you go, happy 100 days till opening day of the college baseball season for those that celebrate. So no days off, SEC Unfiltered, man. We're either covering football or basketball or counting down the days of baseball. It never stops.
Well, Chris, want to let you know you are currently sitting in the enviable position of 69th place in the Upset Picks Challenge standings with 11 points. So, I mean, we've got Melissa Level from Ingles here. She's swinging for the fences, and she's taking Mississippi State over Tennessee for 24 points, I believe it was.
Oh, Lord.
So not only do you not have to stay in the SEC, but you can go as big as you want to. That's entirely up to you, Pat.
I know. I'm trying to go a little realistic. To your point, I'll probably get desperate down the stretch and start picking some 40-point dogs or something, but whatever. It is what it is. Whatever I got to do to stay in 69th place, I'll take that.
There you go. Chris, great stuff, man. Always appreciate you hopping on with us.
Yeah, Cole Diesel, you're the best, man. Appreciate y'all having me. We'll do it again next week.
Chris Phillips, SEC Unfiltered. And speaking of SEC, you said it, Diesel. They had several teams in the top 12, especially when you look at the rankings that came out last night. We talked about it in the very – how many? Four.
A third. Wow. Think about that, Cole.
Are you surprised?
No, I'm not surprised, but still a third of the 12-team, first 12-team field, SEC.
Doesn't surprise me at all. We'll get into that. Rehash upset picks. Another chance for you to get yours in. And if you haven't entered the challenge yet, you can do so next. He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson, and this is the Fan Upstate.
From the fields to the courts and the gridiron to the tracks.
Electrifying sports talk from start to finish.
You're going wire to wire
With Diesel and Cole Bryson.
on the Fan Upstate.
Yep.
Final hour of the show. Final chance for you to get your thoughts in on what's happening in the sports world. The college football playoff rankings last night. Every Tuesday now, I believe. Is that right?
Every Tuesday at 7 o'clock.
Until the end of time?
Forever.
And a lot of games this weekend. The Upset Picks Challenge is open. Diesel's going to give you a clue number 4 here in a minute. But first, let's go to Tom in Somerville, who has been patiently waiting. Tom, what's on your mind, man? Let's try that again. Tom, you there?
Tom?
And the third time is the
Tom,
charm.
we got you.
Maybe we
Yeah,
did.
can y'all hear me?
We got
Now
you.
we got you.
Yeah, you got me? Okay.
We got you, buddy.
Well, I'll say this, man. It's been a great few weeks. A great few days, rather. Gamecocks won. You know, Clemson lost. And like many Americans in this country, last night meant a lot. And y'all know why? Maction started back, baby. And I'll say this. I should have given y'all my 2 underdog picks last night. I know it doesn't count for spread, though, but I hit on both of mine last night. So I got a parlay that hit. So my little personal streak here is continuing to ride out. We got more action tonight. Man, all year long, America has been waiting for Tuesday, November 5th for action, and we got it, and it was great, and we get it again tonight, baby.
Maction is, Tom,
It's
Okay,
here.
Scott.
See, Conference USA Tuesday just doesn't have the same kind of ring to it, does it, Tom?
Thanks,
No,
Tom.
it's good football,
still
but
there.
it's not action. It's not
That's right.
action.
Not Maction. Tom, always appreciate you chiming in. From
Tuesday,
sorry.
Tom, can you give us your upset pick this week?
this week, I haven't really looked.
Okay, you don't have to give it to you. I don't want to peer
I
pressure
haven't
you.
really
Okay?
looked yet.
Yeah, I don't want to peer pressure you, Tom.
We thought
can
you
wait.
were an expert, Tom. We thought you knew all this already.
Yeah. Well, we got to get through the Tuesday and Wednesday games first. We got to get through these first. We'll worry about Saturday after we get Thursday and Friday in. So
All right.
I'll take a look. I'll give y'all my upset pick on Friday.
We're just here working for you, Tom.
Yeah, it's your world.
Whenever you're ready.
And you're not a gambler by chance, are you, Tom?
No, sir. No, not at all. Just for a little fun. Nothing illegal. Just for fun.
Great stuff.
Well, if you want to do something just for fun, we got some cockroach races up in Sugar Tip.
That's true. You need to come up here to the upstate, man. Somerville. Appreciate you listening, by the way, all the way down in Somerville. Gotta get some more Tolos on board down there.
Yeah, I got kicked out of a cockroach race one time, and I ain't going back.
I don't know that I even want to know why.
That
Thank
was
you,
the
Tom.
wrong. That was the wrong time to take a sip of my drink.
Oh, have a good night.
Thank
Thanks,
you, Tom.
Oh
Appreciate
God,
that.
I got worried there for a minute.
Yeah, he had me nervous, man. I was like, he's going politics, and then he steered it to Maction, and that's why we love Tom.
You can always rely on Tom. He teased you a little bit though, didn't he?
He did.
You got nervous. You're like, oh gosh, he's going to go politics on the sports show. I almost read a political text earlier because you know how I am. I read text as I see them. I don't read them.
You are Ron Burgundy.
I am. I'll read anything that's on the teleprompter. But the College Football Playoff Committee released their first rankings of the season last night. We're going to get into that. Also, we need I don't know the exact number, but I would guess, Diesel, we need 15. Let's call it 15, 20 more upset picks here in hour number 1 of the show from our Tolos.
We got to stay on schedule, you know.
Got to stay on schedule. We've got to stay relatively, relatively tight to where we normally are after a Wednesday, because Wednesday is always the biggest day.
Yeah, we're used to about 60 on a Wednesday. We're at 46 right now. So there's still time for you to get your upset picks in.
So we need 14, really.
That's right.
Let's go ahead and get 15 to 20, though. So 71307 is the way you can text the show. Philip Rollins did get his in just a few minutes ago. He said Michigan plus 14. I also
That's your pick.
Michigan 14. I
does it make you feel better when other people also take your pick?
100% it does.
But
sometimes it doesn't hold any weight, but it does make me feel better for the moment.
If I was Philip Rollins, it wouldn't make me feel any better that you took.
Oh, heck no.
Same.
He probably didn't know.
Yeah. He's just tuning in.
He probably would not have taken that game. Let us know, Tolos, where you're listening from tonight as we carry you home here in hour number 4 of the show. Diesel and I, look, we're on the opposite end of the earth. I mean, we are way out. And I had a lady look at me earlier like she was going to just come at me for saying this. We're way out in Liberty. We're at Ingalls, all the way in Liberty, South Carolina today. So good to be with you. One more hour of the show. We are back at Ingalls every other week. And this Liberty one, I believe Liberty is about as far as we go. What is that? Would that be west? As far as we go west, kind of toward Lake Hartwell. So we are all the way out here in Liberty today. Hope you can swing by if you're in the area. Texter says, Matt Leinert's son just committed to SMU, and I officially feel old as hell. Matt Leinert's son. That is kind of true. Like, it does make you feel old to say that, really? I mean, come on. Philip Rollins said, I literally just turned y'all on in Boiling Springs. Appreciate you listening, Philip, in Boiling Springs. And, just to let you know, I did bad news. I picked Michigan as well. Hope I didn't curse you. Usually you want to stay away from the teams I pick, but you never know.
Philip, we need you to spread the word up in Boiling Springs.
Yeah.
We need Tom to spread the word down in Somerville. We need Philip Rollins to spread the word in Boiling Springs. We need Tolo Big Mick to spread the word wherever he is.
Tolo Big Mick. I'll tell you what, we haven't got a lot of good Tolo's names, but I like Tolo Big Mick. That's a good name. Tolo Big Mick. I don't know. I just like that one a lot.
It feels like we're almost getting trolled by that name.
Big Mick.
Yeah, Big Mick. Like there's a thing called where people who exercise on Peloton like to try to get the instructors to say funny names. Somebody texted in as the name Drew P. Bowles and got him to say it.
Yeah, I have seen that.
It's great stuff, man.
Big Mick.
It's real highbrow comedy.
Joe D says he's going Oklahoma State plus 10.5 over TCU. Here's a question, Diesel. I don't think we got to this earlier. By the way, Keith and TR took Texas Tech over Colorado plus 3.5. Lefty Tiger asked, how many more losses until Dabo's on the hot seat? If I had the temperature control, I would definitely be turning it up. This is the best weather. What do you mean by cloudy and dark at 5 o'clock? I mean, that's no fun. Now, we did yesterday at 5 o'clock our welfare check, and Dabo was in the conversation. Without looking top of your head, I think we had them both within 1 to 5.
About a 2 to 3, I think is where we both topped out.
So, Lefty Tiger, I mean, how many more losses?
I think if Dabo Swinney takes 5 more losses between now and the end of the 2026 season. So that'd be 5 losses, including the rest of this year, next year, and 2026. I think that seat is really hot because Clemson fans, they want to be back to that elite football
5
program.
over the next 2.5.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, hey, that could be.
A lot of coaches would be real happy with that.
Let's say there's 2 more this year. Okay, so that number goes down to 3 over the next 2. So if then you said there's only 3 losses over the next 2 years, 25 and 26, that's 1 loss, maybe 1 year, 2 losses the next. I think he needs to lose more like 5. Not needs to. I think in order to answer Lefty Tiger's question, in order for him to truly be on the hot seat, I think you'll have to lose 5 to 6 within the next calendar year.
That's interesting call. I mean, look at the schedule next year. Out of conference. They're hosting LSU. Is it at LSU? Is it neutral site? Do we know for sure?
I don't know
where that game's going to be. It's not listed as an at or as a neutral site on the website that I'm on. But then they'll play Troy, Furman, and South Carolina. I mean, if they lost to LSU to start the season, clearly, you still haven't figured things out, and that's a very big possibility.
At Clemson, by the way.
It's at Clemson. Oh, that's a big one. You think we can get credential for that?
100%. Yeah, probably already are. I mean, they do credentials like so far out. Yeah,
10 years in advance. They do the credentials before the schedule's even announced.
You might as well. So Lefty Tiger, look, I mean, it's I don't think it's trending the right way. Like, it's somehow, some way, he kind of has to like shut down the narrative. I think he does. I think he has to just shut down the narrative. All right, let's get into the rankings that came out last night, 7:00. I did not watch. I will, if I didn't record it, so if I can find it, I will go back and watch because I'd like to hear the explanations on the teams that are in the top 12, especially Diesel. But it was election night, so there were probably a lot of people that did not watch last night. But they did release the first college football rankings of the season. And you and I kind of guessed yesterday in terms of where we thought these teams would be, Diesel, in the rankings. I'll tell you where I went wrong. You did better than I did. I thought that there would be major shakeup, and maybe not major, but I thought, Diesel, there would be significant shakeup from the AP poll to the college football playoff poll. Turns out there wasn't, and the two polls were almost identical. So if I would have just said, hey, same as the AP, I'd have probably been right.
Yeah, that's the shocking thing to me because, like I was talking about yesterday on the show, in years past, the CFP has ranked some teams in places they otherwise wouldn't early, knowing that it's going to generate some conversation, and they don't want to be essentially copying what the AP poll is, because then people are like, well, why are we even paying attention to it this week? There's no debate. There's no hashtagging CFP all over social media, Cole. So I'm shocked that we didn't have a little bit more shakeup than what we got. I mean, the top 10 being essentially scratch, it kind of leaves you bored.
Well, it does. And in the rankings, I'll tell you this, I was surprised by two things. Number one, I was surprised by Miami. I thought Miami, I didn't know if they would get the respect this early. They did. They're at 4. So the committee did respect what Miami's done, which bodes really well for the Hurricanes because we talked about it earlier. They're probably not going to lose out, right? And then you have an ACC championship where they'll probably be a favorite in that game. So I was surprised that they got that respect this early, Diesel. I was also surprised with Penn State. I've said multiple times, I think Penn State's fraudulent, but for whatever reason, the committee disagrees, and they see Penn State as the 6th best team in the country. And just to be quite frank, I don't see Penn State as the 6th best team in the country.
Look, Penn State had a weak game against Ohio State. It's undeniable. Only putting up 13 points at home in the biggest game in your program's probably history, because college football playoff is on the line. That is definitely disappointing in the way they looked at times, costing themselves opportunities and then giving up scores off of bad mistakes, Cole. But, I mean, you look at this team all season long, they haven't been blowing the doors off people. I mean, you got to go back to Kent State in week number 4 to say, oh, that was a big-time impressive win. It was 56-0. But, I mean, week 1, they beat West Virginia by 22 points, which is not really all that impressive. They beat Illinois by 14 points. They beat UCLA by 16. I mean, they're just one of those teams, Cole, that they're not going to go out there and put up 45 points a game. They're not Miami as far as their offensive production week in and week out, but they're consistently 2 touchdowns better than their entire schedule. And they've shown the ability to get out ahead and hold those leads and win comfortably all season long, which to me says one of the more complete teams, not elite, but complete, right? Being complete can take you a long way in this game. There's a lot of teams that have a great offense and a bad defense, or a bad defense or a great defense and a bad offense, So I like Penn State more than a lot of people do, and that's why I just had this inkling that the College Football Playoff Committee was going to think the same way about them. They don't necessarily change their minds, on an instant, right? They don't take hard left turns because the team had a bad performance.
Tolos, what do you think about the rankings that came out last night? What do you think they got right? What do you think they got wrong? 71307. Texter says, I think this is Lefty. No, this is Philip Rollins. Philip Rollins says, I think Dabo's either going to retire or jump to the NFL after this season for the first time ever. I saw defeat in his eyes. The signs are there. We'll see. We'll see. By the way, Tom has spoken, Diesel, on the text line 71307. The one and only Tom from Somerville. He's going bold, and I mean,
is this
bold.
the biggest upset we've had even picked this year?
I'll tell you this. I thought about taking it.
No, you
I did.
didn't.
I did.
No,
it's
you
38
didn't.
points. I'm sorry, 38.5 points. It'd be big. Now, listen, Purdue has no shot at beating Ohio State.
But we've said that about Purdue teams in the past, Cole, that have shocked the world and won big-time games. There was a game, I want to say it was around 2021, maybe it was 2020, where Purdue beat Ohio State at home, and the entire college football world lost their minds.
Well, the 1 week I don't pick the 1-7 Purdue Boilermakers. They'd probably pull the upset of the century and beat Ohio State. I hope it doesn't happen, but it wouldn't surprise me. Brian Andrews, he's taking North Texas plus 5.5 versus Army. Brian says he is a Greenville Tolo. Brian, appreciate you turning it on and leaving it on. That's what we ask you to do right here on the Fan Upstate. Texter says Army is the one getting a raw deal. Indiana's schedule to this point is weak as well, Water. And Army, they were number 25, right? I believe you said Army was 25 in last night's rankings.
Correct.
And for those that don't know, maybe just tuned in, Diesel, Clemson fell 8 spots?
All the way to 23rd.
23rd
place. So 20th was Colorado, 21st Washington State, 22nd Louisville, 23rd Clemson, 24th Missouri, and 25th Army.
And you know what's fascinating about Clemson? I said earlier in the first segment, I don't think Clemson right now is a top 25 team. And I said that out loud, and I kind of questioned, like sometimes you say things and you're like, well, are they? Like if they have their best game, they are. And then Kelley Ford, he says, hey, according to what was most deserving, they were like 28th.
Yeah.
I mean, way down the list. And I think they were 8 spots lower in his rankings. And by the way, we'll have that Kelley Ford interview for you in just a second. But his models, I say his models when it comes to most deserving don't really think the Tigers are most deserving. And I guess that's what's going to have to happen.
Clemson's all style, no substance. All style, no substance. They got no substance.
Hey,
they got no heart.
Style.
Where's the heart? When you're playing a team that you have more talent than in Louisville, where the hell's the heart in a game like that? Where's the discipline? Where's the want to? Where's the will? We didn't see that on display.
I think that comes down to the Jimmies and Joes, right? I don't.
Well, doesn't that come down to coaching?
In terms of the will and the want to? No, I think that's the guys on the field. And I think those guys on the field aren't the same guys that Clemson used to have. And now that comes back to coaching. Yeah, the not having the same talent. Yeah, 100% that goes back to coaching because if you're not – listen, I know the recruiting classes and the rankings tell you that Clemson's still recruiting at a high level, but the reality, the eye test shows you that the dudes that are on the field now are not the same dudes Clemson had 5-10 years ago. And it's very evident. So, yeah, to your point, not having those guys that have that will to win and looking just lifeless at times, that goes back to the coaching for sure.
Well, it feels like Clemson football is turning into a youth retreat, right? A church group. Everybody's just real happy to be there. Nobody cusses. Everybody's as nice as they could be. It's just like there's no dogs on that team. You know what I'm saying? Like there's just no guys that are going to go out there and hit you in the face.
Well, they just again, Cade tries to be, but at the end of the day, if you have to try to be something you're not. And again,
you can be a quarterback like Cade, and he has the ability to throw the ball and put it in good spots, but you got to have dogs in the wide receiver room. I mean, Bryant Wesco is good, but he got hurt early, right? No, sorry, I'm thinking of Mazio Bennett in the South Carolina game. But you got to have those dudes who will go up and fight for the ball, and I don't think Clemson has that. You mentioned him just a minute ago, Cole. We had a conversation earlier with Kelley Ford of KFordRatings. Fantastic chat with him. We're going to replay that for you next, right here on the Fan Upstate.
Now morning 6 to 10 on The Fan.
The Fan Upstate.
Breaking news. We break the mold.
This is Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on The Fan Upstate.
Final segment of the show, your last chance of today to get your upset picks in. 71307. Start your text with the word fan. We need your name, the game, and the point spread on your game for the week. So let's see. Let's find the most recent one. As an example, Brian Andrews took North Texas plus 5.5 versus Army. That's how you do it. You need to send in your name, the game, and the amount of points, a team that you like to pull the outright upset and win the game this weekend in college football. The Upset Picks Challenge brought to you by Ingles Markets rolls on. We love Ingles. We're at Ingles, and it's time to give you clue number 4, your last chance. You have like 10 minutes to get by here if you want to swing by and enter for a chance to win a $25 gift card. Clue number 1 was many people love blending this item with joy. Clue number 2, the main ingredient in a healthy milk. Clue number 3, this item tops the best dishes, either chopped or whole. And finally, clue number 4, this item packs a lot of protein in a small package. So without giving it away, Tolos, if you are in the Liberty area, you have a chance to come by and win a $25 Ingles gift card. And look, I'll just tell you this, you've got a good shot. You've got a good shot if you come by, if you know what the item was here at Liberty. As we are back on the road. Look, October, we had to take a little bit of a break because of Ingles getting back on their feet, getting back stocked, the hurricane. Some stores were limiting the amount of people that came in and out, but we're back now every other Wednesday. And Diesel, next Wednesday, we are on the road. I'm sorry, not next Wednesday,
2 weeks.
20th. That's right. We are on the road the 20th at Ingles Markets, 410 Pelzer Highway in Easley, going to the Big E.
Corn Chip, come see us this time.
That's right. He's an
Corn
Easley
Chip
guy.
Corn Chip couldn't come all the way down here. But then we take the show to him.
You do have to, but in order to get down here, you do have to get a GPS. You do have to get coordinates, and you do have to get
you got a
some
Sherpa.
help.
You got to get a Sherpa.
Man, I'm telling you, it is out here. I thought today I was getting close, and it said I had 45 minutes left. I get off the interstate, and it said I had like 40 minutes. I was like, man, I don't know if we're ever going to get here. But
look at Cole over here, big time, and from Boiling Springs.
It's a long way. It's a long way, but you know what? It's worth it because we get to be with the Tolos. Diesel, I said, look, it's the last chance to get your upset pick in. And with us being here at Ingles, you came over with some footlongs. Are you going home with 2 sub sandwiches, or do you have what do you have in there?
Well, I got 2 footlong subs.
Okay.
One's a turkey sub for Ashley, for the wife. One is like a everything sub for me.
She didn't want the everything?
No, she wanted the turkey sub.
Now you say everything.
You got to get the woman what she wants.
Salami,
right?
ham.
No, it's turkey sub with everything on top of it. Mine is
yours.
Mine's turkey, roast beef, ham, bacon. Like all my arteries are getting clogged after this. But I'm okay with it. Then I got, of course, lettuce, tomato, spinach, green peppers, onions on top of it. Yeah, green peppers on the sub.
No,
you know what?
The roast beef, I'm with you.
When you turn 21, Cole, your palate's going to change a little bit. You're going to want a little extra flavor.
I can't do the
Are you a picky
peppers.
eater?
No, I'll tell you, I don't like peppers and tomatoes. I like onions.
So
peppers, tomatoes, I'm out.
I think there was something you mentioned, Cole, some audio that I think you were going to play last week, but we never got to it. Xavier Leggett.
Yeah,
talking about going to Germany. Was that the audio that you were going to play?
Remind me. I'm going to have that tomorrow. I am going to have that audio tomorrow.
They asked him, like, you're going to Germany. What are you going to? You going to get some bratwurst? You're going to get this?
Good.
He goes, oh no, man.
It was so
I don't
good.
Eat like it.
It's the best audio you'll probably ever hear. And I forgot. You're right. I forgot all about the audio.
Like, what do you not eat? He goes, I don't eat onions,
asparagus,
peppers, but I do eat asparagus.
He said asparagus. I interviewed him Sunday, man. I tell you what, I interviewed him just to hear his accent.
Did he have a translator?
No.
So, like, why does Shohei Ohtani get a translator when Xavier Leggett doesn't get one?
I love his accent. I love it. That's a true Mullins South Carolina low country accent. I mean, you can't
tell me
fake
that
it.
you can't tell me that everyone in Mullins speaks that way.
Not everybody, but I bet there's a lot that do. I mean,
Really?
it's thick, man.
That is a tried and true legit Mullins accent.
I'm telling you, it's great. I love.
Man.
I'm just I stand there listening to him smiling. I mean, anytime I hear his voice, it's just he is a national treasure to the NFL. Well, his voice.
Put a microphone in front of his face every day, would you?
It's great. Now, sadly,
you put him on America's Got Talent. He just talks to him.
Well, he does, but sadly, there's not going to be much to talk about because, the Panthers aren't good. They traded away Mingo.
We got inventory to carry us from 54.
Deontay Johnson. So, it's not looking too good for the Panthers. But it's
Just 2 minutes.
If you can win with this walking wounded kind of a roster, Cole, like if you can just pick up another win, 2 wins. I mean, think about it this way: they only won 2 games last year. They've already tied that.
Yeah.
All they got to do is pick up one more, and technically,
yeah. But you know what though?
That's an improvement.
It's like I asked David Newton. What Tuesday we had him on yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. What does it do for you to win though? Like, what are you accomplishing?
Well, here's the thing, Cole. So given our conversation with David Newton yesterday, it didn't sound like there was really anyone at the quarterback position specifically that they feel like it's really imperative that they are inside the top 5 to go get. And Carolina is going to finish at the very worst with a top 8 pick. So then if you can take whatever pick you got, let's say it's 7 or 8, and you package that with a 3rd rounder, I think you're in a position to possibly move up into that 2nd, 3rd spot. I mean, I know Carolina needs bodies. They need bodies big time.
Yeah.
So
not like, just dead, but they need bodies that actually can play football.
Right.
Because
so,
that's kind of sometimes what it looks like.
I don't want to see them packaging picks to move up. I think they need as many rookies on this roster as they could possibly get.
Sure.
And try to rebuild that way. You're certainly not going to hit on all of them, right? But if you have 9 picks, which the Carolina Panthers currently do, and you can hit on 5 of those good players, and just whether they're starters or whether they're regular backups that you can put in and you're too deep, I think you've won. I think you've ended up there in a good spot. So, hey guys, we've had a blast being down here at Ingles Markets in Liberty. We'll see you 2 weeks at the Ingles in Powdersville. It's been Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. We appreciate Ben back in the network studios. We are the Fan Upstate.